isn't gonna just blow over. The Zerg won't stop until we're all dead.
Vengeance shall be mine.
The seven evils are one within me. I am Legion.
Stay a while and listen.
To ask why we fight is to ask why leaves fall.
You are not prepared.
Warcraft players, where you at? Starcraft players, where you at? Diablo players, where you at?
Blizz, bro.
Put another Hearthstone notch in the Nerf bat. You're getting a level 90 a little bit sooner than expected, and Greg Street starts a different kind of riot. Welcome to Blizz Pro's TwizzCast.
Disturbing hallucination. We are hearing voices.
Welcome to TwizzCast, everyone. We are here to share with you our news and experiences concerning all games under the Blizzard Entertainment logo, ranging from World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo, but don't let the introduction fool you because we're going to be covering Hearthstone and Heroes of the Storm as well as things develop with those games. So, who are we? I will be more than happy to bring in those co-hosts. First and foremost, direct from North Dakota, the Southern Belle and Rogue of Rogues that you never saw coming. It's the lovely and talented Reb. Hello, dear.
Hello, Twizz. Hello, chat room. Hello, listeners. And hello, other co-hosts.
Other co-hosts, who of which is directly also from North Dakota, battling evil minions of Pandaria while looking the best visually. It's the Potpelly 5000 Hoda. Hello, sir.
Roads, where we're going, we don't need roads, Twizz.
Oh, God. We'll talk a little bit about why that got said in just a second. Because lastly, everybody, Archon was out of town this week, so we brought back our designated pinch hitter, the king of no bueno, and the man that I've spent more time on Skype with over the past 3 days than anyone else in my entire life, Mr. Robert A. Wing, a.k.a. Zen Style. Welcome back, sir. Oh, I think you're muted.
Thanks, guys. Always a pleasure to be here.
I'm watching
Grade
your
A quality right
nice
there.
cover.
I'm watching your video.
Is it the Hearthstone Happy Hour yet?
We are well on our way there. So, anyways, for those of you who are wondering, my name is Twizz. I currently play a warrior deck. Well, I played a warrior deck. Now I've gone back to the Murloc deck and massive amounts of drinking. So we'll talk about that a little bit more too. Just a reminder, everybody, there's several ways you can get your TwizzCast and Blizz Pro fix. We are available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and the RSS feed can be found at TwizzCast.com. The show notes for this episode and all things discussed can be found in the same place as well as BlizzPro.com. Also, if you want to subscribe to our Twitch.tv channel, you get an email when we go live. That way you're never going to forget. So go over to Twitch.tv/TwizzCast and hit that follow button. So that way you're guaranteed not to miss us. Also, just another reminder, everybody, that if you missed the live show on Thursday nights, it's always uploaded to the BlizzPro YouTube channel so you can go back and watch. If you're a downloader of the show, all the episodes are available Friday morning. So I post the show right after it's done so you can start your weekend off the right way. Lastly, for those of you who are interested, podcast at BlizzPro.com will get you directly in my inbox. And God knows, as you can see from the stream, we'll let anybody in my box, so to speak. So, as always, everybody, lots of ground to cover, small amount of time to do it in. So let's cover our weekend news in gaming. And if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure I saw all three of you guys in Hearthstone at some point this week. So, Rob, what have you been doing this week? Guess first.
Well, real quick, I just got to say, Diablo, I'm finally in Hell mode. I'm in Act 3 of Hell mode. It's getting grueling. I'm manning up, though, and I'm doing it.
Ooh.
Mostly, though, I'm playing a lot of Hearthstone. I don't know if you guys have been watching, but there's a lot of patch stuff going on. A lot of classes getting nerfed. They're trying to buff hunters. I think they mean well. It's not working out. Yeah, Warlock's getting nerfed. Warriors getting nerfed, and they didn't need to be nerfed in the first place. Mages getting nerfed. Everybody gets some nerfs. Basically, aggro is dead, and everyone's running Senjin Shieldmaster again.
Hide your kids. Hide your wife.
Yeah, everybody's getting nerfed, so don't go outside if you don't want to get nerfed. No, but back in the beginning of the Mana Grind tournaments and for Hearthstone, everyone was running like big tanky creatures and like big legendaries everywhere. Like Ragnaros was in every deck.
Right.
And then it kind of like things got super fast, and it was all about like Warlocks and aggro and Mage aggro. And now aggro sucks again, so everyone's going back to mid range.
Wow.
So yeah, that's I've been trying to figure it out. You know how I want to approach this. I've been kind of messing around with some priest control and a little bit of mage control too. So
okay.
Now,
Yeah,
a
it's pretty
question
much-
for you, Rob. Are you seeing that? Do you think Blizzard wants the game to kind of be that more controlled, like board action rather than just the rush on the hero? Do you think Blizzard kind of wants that play, like it's the back and forth?
I think what Blizzard right now is trying to avoid is they don't want combos. They don't want gimmicky one turn combos that kill people, and they want you to actually have to like fight for what you were saying, like board control. Like they want there to be an actual like match in a game, as opposed to just people find something like super strong and just like race with the finish line to it, or race to the finish line with it. So they're just trying to create a culture, I think, in the game where everybody can actually have fun and play, as opposed to just get steamrolled all the time by kind of like more gimmicky setups.
Which I thought I had found this week, and I'll talk about it. But Rob already knows the gimmick that I thought I had found.
Yeah, no, that was a lovely discussion, Rob. I'm glad I was there to help you. But yeah, Hearthstone and dealing kind of with all the changes has been my week in gaming. So I hear there's some pretty big stuff going on in Warcraft, though, Hoda.
Yeah, before I get to my weekend gaming, there's just some news that came out right away here, Reb, if you could help me out. What just came out? The Warlords of Draenor. When you purchase it, what is it?
Pre-purchase.
Purchase. You get your 90 character right away.
Immediately. So when the
Immediately.
pre-purchase is available, you're immediately gonna have time to get that free level 90 and like play around with them so that you're comfortable with it. So when you actually get Warlords of Draenor, you're going into the expansion saying, "Oh yeah, I have my legendary. I had time to get my heirloom from 90 to 100 off of Garage." Like you're gonna have plenty of time if you pre-purchase.
Right.
Yeah, this is pretty big news because everybody just assumed as soon as you like get your digital download or box of the new Warlords of Draenor, you'd have to like type in your code and get your free 90. But this is pretty interesting to do this because now, do you guys think it's because we have so much time until the next expansion that they want people to keep playing this?
That very well might be. This might be a small indication of like, here's a little something else. Here's a little bone for you guys to chew on because we're gonna, because with a free 90 comes, we're obsessive compulsive about these things. They have to have professions. They have to have, things maxed. They have to have their first aid, their fishing, their whatever. It's a new tune. You want to have it just perfect. You got to have the right transmog outfit. Am I right, Hoda?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's what I'll be doing is like spending weeks and weeks hunting transmog gear.
Yes.
Yep. So, it's I'm scared. To me, that says like we're having to give you something to tide you over because once you find out what our plans are for this, no bueno.
Well, I think they've utilized things in the past that were similar to this, and what comes to mind immediately is back when they had announced like the Diablo 3 release date, I believe, and you could get Diablo 3 for free if you signed up for a complete year of WoW.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of like a gimmicky thing along the lines of this. It's just like, extend playing with us, give us your money, you want to stay.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about it.
Yep.
And they didn't say when this would be available to pre-purchase, but it said soon TM in usual Blizzard style. So, and it also said the digital deluxe edition will give you a pet and mount right away as well. So we don't know what those are, but that'll be interesting to see. Also, speaking of looking good, Twizz.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Ooh, I didn't mean it that way. I give you a really good compliment. No, just earlier today, another mount dropped on the Blizzard store.
That
Did you
is
guys see
true.
this? The Iron Sky Reaver.
It's so cute.
Yep.
I saw that they put up a mount that was not a Fey Dragon, so I was like, why do I care?
Oh, it's obviously the Horde bias, by the way. Have you seen that?
I'm Alliance again, baby. I'm Alliance.
Are ya?
I'm all blue.
All right. No, that's nothing
Anyway.
wrong with that. Nothing wrong with
Yeah,
that.
so
I saw that. I
it's
saw that.
very Iron Horde style. It's a dragon with like two heads and jetpacks and stuff, and it's really cool because, unlike other mounts, it does like a barrel roll, like when you're flying. I'm not
Wait,
exactly sure.
do you have to tap LNR?
I
Does it
hope
deflect
so.
lasers?
Yes. And
Excellent.
Yuppie, what's his name? Yuppie yells barrel roll
Oh,
at
it's
you.
Peppy.
Peppy.
I'm so
Yuppie.
close.
You're becoming a better pilot, Hoda.
Oh God. Do a barrel roll. Yep.
Yeah. So those are just kind of the things that came out today as far as WoW news. My week in gaming has actually been pretty fun. Angry Arc's team, along with Honey and some other people, Awkward Moments, we went into flex rating in Wing 4, so I mean the Garrosh Wing, and the first boss, Siegecrafter. and they're going to kind of work on it on normal mode, so you wanted to get like a taste of it. So I was like, oh, I'll help out. And man, it was kind of tough. Like, nobody knew the mechanics. We went into blindfolded. So we did a little bit of progress on them, maybe like 20% or something, but it was kind of difficult, I'm not going to lie. Like, if you're not, because Flex is, yes, a little easier mode, but if you go in like unprepared, you're definitely going to get rocked, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely in Flex, you need to go in at least knowing the mechanics.
Yeah, absolutely. Other than that, Rab, you're going to be so proud of me. Finally got my legendary cloak.
Woo!
You
Nice.
did?
Hey. Good game, Hoda. Good game. You are like 52 steps ahead of me.
You are a special.
Twiz, you don't have yours either? You don't have yours either?
No.
High five through the internet.
All right, high five to fist bump.
Well, it's one of those things in WoW lately. I've been like all this stuff to do, and I just sat down and made like a little checklist. Like, I'm going to do this because I don't know if you have like just a couple hours in WoW, you kind of dilly dally. You know, it's been like that for me lately. So I decided I'm just going to do this quest line, and it was really cool because I got the secrets, like the last two right away in LFR. Did the quest line. Did the with the Celestials and everything, and then you got to go beat Garrosh for like the last part of it, and right away LFR queued for it as tank. Boom! Didn't even have to clear trash. I got in a group that was directly on Garrosh, so it was like a wonderful night.
Nice.
I know, and it was funny because like 3 guildies were doing the same exact thing that night, alongside with me. Like, it was awkward. We weren't doing it like together, but achievements would pop up like 2 minutes like in between each other. It was really cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Also, you're going to talk about this maybe in a little bit here, Twiz, but I wanted to mention our Twisted Raiders. That is our level. Right now, I guess the plans are level 60, leveling at 60 raid team, right?
Yes.
And that's over on Alliance on Coltros or Blade Fist as well, because we're connected now.
Yep.
And it's exactly how I created a new Alliance tune, so that's really cool. So I went over there with a couple guildies, Missy, and everybody knows Fugs.
Oh, I'm sorry, who?
A bit of the thunder from down under going, eh, gang?
That's right.
Nice, yes. So that was really cool, and I'm truly excited. But my plan here, guys, like, I'm going to have a warrior tanking at 60, right? Because he's at level 60 warrior's like the only tank. Because I think we're going to raid with just the at gear level. We're not going to like have like OP Burning Crusade gear, you know, going through like Molten Core and stuff.
Right.
Then I'm also going to level a Paladin to level 70 and do the next raid tier with him as a tank.
Yeah, because you don't have one of them.
Yeah, and then at level 80, I'm going to do the DK tank because that's when they came out and they have DK gear. So I got this all planned out, and I'm super excited to do all this.
This is like your legacy run, dude. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And it was crazy. There's just amounts of people over there on those servers. Like, I just created a tune when there were 60 people online at one time. I was like, oh my god.
It was craziness.
Yeah.
Like, day one, I remember seeing or doing /who to see who was on, and like, it was craziness over there.
Yeah. Well,
They're having
I
a
tell you,
powwow and everything.
here's the little secret as well. Some people like get on Twisted Empire and they see 31 people online, and then they get in Twisted Kingdom and they see like 39 people on, and you forget that it's all like it's just as crazy. Like, I know what they are going through because it is just as crazy on our end of things, and it's like it's not, if you're not part of that environment, seeing what it's like to have 60 people on there or even in that ballpark, guild chat is nuts. It's insane. So I can exactly understand what you're talking about.
And being in that you're only going to level 60, people were grouping left and right. Like, I saw people just doing old Black Rock Deep runs and old like Black Rock Mountain. It was really cool. So that was my weekend gaming. It was really exciting. How about you, Reb? What you got going on?
Oh my gosh, I had so much going on this week. First, let me hit on the Hearthstone. Yes, I was playing Hearthstone this week, and I got kind of addicted. And I so thought that I came up with just the most ingenious idea ever. I was like, I totally should be a developer.
I can't wait to do this.
So I'm going up against a priest, and we all know how I feel about priest decks. And I throw down like a jungle panther that had stealth on it. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'm just throwing out crap now because I'm losing, obviously.
Sure.
And then I throw down a card in, I believe it was an arena, so it was just like a whole bunch of just random stuff I had never played with before. I put down a card, and it gave my Jungle Panther the taunt. And I was like, oh my gosh, I am so genius. It is stealth, so they can't attack it until it actually attacks. And it's taunt, so they can't attack anything but the thing that which they can attack. I was like, I totally win at Hearthstone, and I mean, just crown me queen of everything. It doesn't quite work like that.
Bless
in case you
your
didn't
heart.
know.
No.
In case you ever wonder, if you put taunt on a stealth creature, they pretty much can knock the crap out of it.
Yep.
And that's basically what happened, and I ended up losing. And I was so mad about it. I just rage quit and logged off Hearthstone, and I went to WoW, and I was like, Zen style, let me tell you about this, and blah, 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 and this is why this should happen. Honestly, I took a step back after that conversation, Rob, because you told me I was just mad and bad, and it hurt my feelings.
I did. Those are my exact words. I believe I declared you both mad and bad.
Yeah. So I took a step back, and I thought about it, and honestly, if you were able to put taunt on a stealth minion and not have your opponent ever attack you because they are permanently blocked like that, that is a little bit gimmicky, and that should not be placed into the game. Although I did come up with a really good lore reason or RP reason why it should happen. If you're ever interested, just let me know. I'll give you the deets. But I moved on from it, and I was like, you know what? It's in the past. I'm going to move on. I'm going to enjoy Hearthstone for what it is. So for my week in Warcraft, I actually was a part of Team Want to Buy Tank again this past weekend. And that is our heroic progression team. And so I'm still like in the app process. I think after this weekend we're going to know if like I have a permanent spot on there. And we were actually able to do even more heroic progression. We did the Fallen Protectors this week. And that was like the new one that we had down. So we're 4 of 14 heroic.
Nice.
We killed Galacras again. And it was a lot easier this time. You know, we're learning from our mistakes. And I gotta say, it's really cool to be back on the raiding scene again and actually have responsibilities. And, you know, I get put on interrupts a lot for being a rogue.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I mess up and I miss an interrupt, I caused a wipe. So it puts a lot more pressure on your shoulders, but honestly, it's worth it. And like the feeling that you get when you've downed a heroic boss is like, yay!
Right.
I did not receive another dagger, so I still have that little raid finder in my offhand.
It's okay.
But you know, I don't know if Scatto was lying to me or not, but it said I was top damage on Iron Juggernaut. We're just gonna go with it. We're gonna take it for what it's worth. I actually got heroic gloves.
Are you sure you weren't looking at healing received?
I'm pretty sure I was looking at overall.
Okay. All right. I'm just saying. I mean, hey, anything's possible.
And I got heroic gloves the first night. Lo and behold, the second night I got my tier gloves, which gave me my 4-piece, so I ended up having to replace my heroic gloves. But you know what? It's cool. I'm getting loot. I'm having fun. It's nice to do progression, so it's really cool. Also, about that mount, Hoda, it is entirely too easy to use the in-game store to buy stuff. Entirely too easy. So I'm very glad, like we mentioned last week, how we're putting the parental controls on there for if you are a parent. But honestly, as being an adult myself, like it's entirely simple and easy. And I totally did that today. And something that they're actually thinking about adding into the in-game store, this was in the article that we were just talking about the 90 as soon as you pre-purchase. They have openly admitted that they are working on having the ability for you to buy a level 90 through the in-game store. And I think that's just kind of nuts, right?
Ooh.
I mean, would you guys actually take advantage of this?
Yes. Yes, I would. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I wouldn't do it. The only reason why is I would have to change my scenario a little bit. Okay? Obviously, I'm very attached to the Twisted Nation for obvious reasons. But if I had, like if there were other people that, like if Coltrane from Convert to Raid sent me a whisper and was like, "Hey dude, do you want to do this goof around raid thing that we're going to be doing and blah, 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 we'll just have some people from the podcasting community do this, if I could buy a level 90 to put on that server just for that purpose, then I would do it. I would do it just for that reason. But I wouldn't just be like, okay, deleting my 46 pally, boom, 90 pally. Deleting my, level 10 hunter, boom, 90 hunter. I mean, I wouldn't do it like that. It would, yeah.
Deleting my Tauren Druid.
Yeah, I'm deleting.
I'm a Tauren Druid.
Yep. So.
Yeah, I personally would not, because I have enough characters and I find I find enjoyment in leveling, so I have no problem with it. But it's really where they're going to put the price tag on that 90. You know what I mean? And I feel like they have to adjust, like character transfers and race transfers, not race, character and faction, a bit if they're going to like put a price tag on this free 90. Because I don't know, I'm more, I guess, connected to my old characters and rather just making a new one. So if it's more expensive to move an old tune around, I think that's kind of lame.
I think it's going to be more expensive than a transfer and faction change, because this gets you automatically a 90. With a transfer and faction change, if you're going to do that, then you still have to level. So so obviously the bigger reward is to have a max level character. So that's what's probably going to be more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
That's just
I personally don't think I would do it, just because I love, like, leveling is probably the only thing I'm really doing anymore. Like, I don't raid. I just don't, I don't really do much else. I just hop in Skype with people and, like, we just, mess around and level up, and that's about all I, really play the game for. So at this point, if I were to buy a 90, I'd be denying myself possible camaraderie.
Okay.
Honestly, I would be okay with them putting it up in the in-game store and players actually able to buy their 90s. If you want to do it, go ahead, whatever.
Right.
Float your boat. I personally, once again, I would not use it just because, okay, this is a really lame answer. When I play a character, I don't RP, but I kind of assume the personality of that character. Like, when I log on to my troll, I'm like sassy and I got the voodoo,
So wait, there's a scenario.
I agree with you, yes.
Yeah.
There's a scenario where Reb is not sassy.
What? It's not really, no.
When I'm on my Tauren Druid, I'm super friendly.
Yeah, I'm super, at peace, I'm Tauren Druid.
You're on your what? Rob?
Oh.
Anywho, but I feel kind of like I assume that character, and I want to be that character and say, like, oh yeah, I remember when I went through this and I went through that and I cleared all of this BC content, and it's kind of like a journey with them, and it's like I feel closer and more in touch with them.
I remember that. And it's like I remember the first time I did it. I also remember the second time and the third time and the fourth time I did it. And so therefore, I have experienced it and I have loved all there is to love about it. And now my raid team needs a Death Knight tank, and by God, cha-ching, here's your Death Knight tank.
Heck yeah, I mean, go for it. There is definitely a want for it out there, maybe a need for it. You could go that far, but I'm not going to participate.
Fair enough.
I said I would never participate in heirlooms either, but we'll see. We'll see.
Okay. All right, we will see in the future episodes exactly how this plays out for
continue to talk to me. What about your week in gaming?
My week in gaming, there was actually, I do kind of have some big news, and I talked about this briefly on the Hearthstone Happy Hour, which takes place on Monday nights with myself, Mr. Robert A. Wing, directly below me, and one Eldorian, creator of Blizz Pro. But we talked about this a little bit on the show. So here's the cold hard truth, guys. As some of you may know, some of you may not know, I fly for the Air Force. I'm with the National Guard, and I was notified about 6 months ago that I was going to be deployed overseas again for the 5th time. And so I kind of waited and watched and tried to plan ahead and what am I going to do and blah, 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 blah. And I got the news earlier this week that my name has gotten taken off the list. And so there is, it would take an act of Congress, supposedly, to get my name back on the list. So what is really kind of scary and really surreal is the fact that as of Sunday, last Sunday, and this may matter to some people, it may not matter to some people, whatever, that's fine. But as of last Sunday, TwizzCast potentially had about 3 or 4 more episodes left in its existence. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Weird thing to think about a little bit. So, but that's not the case. So I get to stay home with my family. I realize there's a lot of other people out there that are not as fortunate as me. So I'm not going to try and gloat and whatever, but it's good news, and I'm sorry for celebrating good news, but you
Elvised off that list.
I did. I John Travolta'd out the door. So
Chief Vulcan makes a point in the chat room that it's because of your podcast fame.
It's probably.
They heard the podcast like, we can't stop this.
We can't stop this. What are the guys over there going to listen to if we stop?
Yeah.
Right?
What's Rob going to do on Thursday?
So, anyways, what's Rob going to do on Monday too? But
Twiz, you're like half of my week, buddy. So
and all of your heart. So, epic Hearthstone happy hour this week. We had a pretty good run against Kilroy from.
If you missed that game was amazing.
It was insane.
That whole happy hour was great. We beat the crap out of Kilroy. I turned into a shark.
You turned into the moon. You turned into two
foxes.
I turned into the
moon. I turned into a raptor.
It was insane. JR turned into a horse.
I don't have the power. I won't bring the power to this, but it is there.
So, seriously, if you are looking for drunken fun, and the whole video is on the Blizz Pro YouTube channel. You go to youtube.com, you type in Blizz Pro, and you can see the Hearthstone happy hours. They're all there. And it is like just good fun. Low threat, low stress. We, mess with each other. We poke at each other. We have fun. We drink. We swear. So be aware of that.
I was so happy to hear you guys whooped Kilroy into shape because he always picks on me. He's like, "Oh, I need to test the deck, dude."
Yeah.
Just kicks the crap out of me every time. So it's good to see him.
Well,
honestly, it was hard to watch. It was really hard to watch because I kept laughing but then crying inside, and they're getting their butts whipped, and I'd be like, "Twiz, you have 13 health left. Twiz, you have 10 health left. Twiz, you have 5 health left." Yep. I'm laughing at you.
Yep.
And then that's when it turned around.
And he was.
And then I was like,
30.
"Twiz, you won the game."
Yep.
Oh, and he had it all along.
Boom shakalaka.
Yeah. Boom goes the dynamite.
Licky boom boom down.
Yeah.
Stop stealing it.
Oh, but no, yeah. If you guys, if you want to see a comeback from 5 health and Kilroy had 30 health, if you want to see a comeback victory, go check out episode. What was that? 3 or 4? 3 of the Hearthstone Happy Hour.
I do it when I'm drunk, so it's not like I can count.
Yeah, well. Yeah.
Oh no.
So, yeah, I don't know what's worse: the fact that we beat Kilroy from 5 health and him at 30, or the fact that we did it drunk.
Well, all of our powers become far greater when we are under the effect of alcohol.
It's true.
So.
We are like little drunk Captain Planets. So, which that sounds like a great show title. Anyways,
Twiz's heart, by the way. I'm fire.
I'm heart. I'm drunk. So, anyways, we did do the impromptu Hearthstone arena run. It was me and Rob and Valise from The Edge, another one of the Blizz Pro TV shows. And you know what? I mean, it was like in just totally impromptu. Like, hey, let's run the arena. Okay. And boom, we threw it up on the stream. And boom, I lost like 7 followers. But whatever, it doesn't matter. So, no, we did it up there. And I'll be honest with you, man. Like, every time I do arena, like I watch these streamers, and it's like they get the most amazing, perfect decks or whatever, and then I get the deck that's like, you want a Murloc, you want, some other garbage card, or, this last one glitched, you don't even get a card, and it's like...
Battle of the Glitch was an epic battle.
Oh,
Battle
God.
of the Card Glitch was fantastic.
Yeah.
We were playing a PvE/PvP game there.
Dude, I know, right? So basically, the cards were at the bottom of the screen, and it was a glitch where one of the cards would overlay over the top of it, so I didn't have access to the card that was behind it. I mean, I could move the top card, but there's no way, and when I would let go of the mouse button, it would fly back over the top of the card behind it. So there was constantly, throughout the entire game, one card that rotated out, depending on how my card draws and the abilities and spells and minions used, but there was always one card I couldn't get to. And so yeah, it was
a grim scenario. It was like, okay, Rob, Hard mode, Sean from the Edge, who knows a lot about Warcraft and nothing about Hearthstone, is going to be picking cards, and Twiz is going to conspire with him. And then second hard mode, sometimes you just can't use cards in your hand. I was like, I can't win with these conditions. But somehow we won that game.
It's true. It happened. So weirder things have happened. But yeah, that was a good time, and I still suck at getting a good arena draw. But, we're going to give it another whirl here pretty soon. But I did pick up a Pally deck from @BaneStar0322. Super solid. We did play with it against Valise during that. We did it just before we did the arena run. We streamed it all. But, it was a super solid deck. I mean, he wore my Druid deck into the ground, which was pretty tweaked and pretty legit. So I'm going to be experimenting more with the Pally. Now, the Pally, never turned me on in Hearthstone because I don't really have a Pally to speak of in WoW, and I really don't like Pallies because, I just look at their. Sorry.
I know.
Right.
I don't like people who play Pallies.
Put your faith in the light, both of you.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, everybody. This is where we're going to start the battle. Battle starts here, everybody. But no, you know what? I played. When I look at a Pally's spells and abilities in WoW, it's like blesses the caster with a divine light that imbues his sword and silences the enemy, blah blah blah, that then as long as the caster is doing this, and it's like you have a paragraph tooltip, and it's like, what in the hell is this? What do I even do with this? And in the end
it's an interrupt. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
That's
a 4-page long interrupt. Okay,
but it has the best characters ever in the lore. You have Tyrion Fordring. He's gonna show up at your house one day, Twiz, and you're gonna hear a knock on the door.
And I'm not gonna know who he is.
And he's gonna be like, "Don't test me, child." And he's just gonna Ashbringer you to death.
And
you're gonna be like, I should have been nicer.
Is that his new line?
No, when you attack, when you play him, he says, "Put your faith in the light," and it's really dramatic, and it plays the Alliance music. And then when you attack with him, he says, "Don't test me, child."
Oh, he actually says that.
It's fantastic. It's the best part of having him.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that when the knock on the door happens and I see him standing out there, I'm gonna say, "Go home, Hoda. You're drunk."
No, just do what everyone does when they see Tyrion Fordring. Just silence him.
Just silence him.
Just silence him.
And squelch.
I think I'm Tyrion. I'm really just out there with a stick, burn you.
Oh god. But anyways, moving right along. Everybody, I am still looking for voices for the upcoming Twisted Nation commercial. I have about 10 or 12 submissions, but I think I'm going to really go all out with this one. And I'd like to get somewhere in the ballpark of 15 to 17. So if you are listening to this and you want to be part of the Twisted Nation commercial, there's a post on twistedempire.engine.com, ENJIN.com, and it has a script and everything like that. I would like you to submit, especially if you are a Hearthstone player, a D3 player, or a Twisted Kingdom guildie. Because I'm missing a little bit of... I'd like to throw a little bit more of that in the commercial. So yeah, I just want to throw that out there. But speaking of Twisted Nation stuff, if you go to twistedempire.engine.com, I updated a little bit of stuff. It was like, you know what, it's time we gotta upgrade this a little bit. We gotta really kind of, I don't know, make it accurate. That's not too much, right?
Make it accurate.
Yeah. You guys are sitting there like statues. I was like, okay, well, the stream died.
I don't know where we're going with how you're wording this.
Well, it was just Twisted Empire. It was like, welcome to Twisted Empire. And it's like, no, we've got the Twisted Nation. We've got all
right. Kind of
yeah.
Oh, you want to encompass everything.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of navigation that goes into this, Reb.
I know you can sing and play instruments. Why don't you do a Guns N' Roses welcome to Twisted Empire. We got funny games.
Where do I log in?
Where do I log in?
Ow. Okay, anyways.
We're going to record this while drunk now.
Oh my god. It's going downhill. But so there's the banner looks different. I've got all the guilds listed out there and everything like that. But I did change up the forums a little bit. I've got new forums for Hearthstone and Diablo. Woo! And basically, if you're a Twisted Nation member, you can continue to play with good people in other games as well. And so that's kind of that's what's happening. Everybody's like, you know what? You are all great people, but I've kind of losing my flavor for WoW a little bit. And, you know, it's just kind of wore on me a little bit. And, you know, I'm looking elsewhere, and it's like, well, if you still like the people, there's other people that like to play Hearthstone and Diablo and StarCraft and whatever else, you know. So you can stay with your friends and just play different games. So in the forums there's everything. We're looking at putting together a Hearthstone tournament, which would be pretty cool. Sergeant Zim has actually put together the groundwork for that. So lots going on there. So make sure you're checking out the forums. Twisted Raiders. Okay, we've talked about these guys for quite, you know, the past 2 weeks. When we made the announcement of the partnership, and they're under the Twisted Nation umbrella and everything. They've been around for about 2 weeks, and they are at 560 tunes in the guild. We talked a little bit about this earlier.
Holy cow.
Get in there. It's really fun.
Yep.
Get all up in there.
Yep. All up in their grill. And
everyone can invite,
really get up in it.
Everyone can invite, so just message if you see someone on. So
yeah. Yep. So, and it's really cool because I've been in talks with Open Raid a little bit, and I think from what I'm gathering and what I'm seeing and whatever is there's actually a outcry for on the EU servers to have not only the Twisted Raiders, the reroll guild, but actually people are wanting to have a normal progression guild. So all of the EU people who listen to this show and have been begging me for, you know, when are you going to extend the Twisted Nation? And, you know, this was the first dabble, and it looks like it was an overwhelming success. So you may have what you want coming sooner than you think. So throwing that out there. And that would make 7 guilds, which is unfreaking believable.
awesome.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Don't ask me. So, all right. And that was pretty much, that was all that I had really going on. Lots of Hearthstone for me this week. Lots and lots of Hearthstone. So when I saw the patch notes that we're going to talk about a little bit later with Hearthstone, I got a little bit discouraged, had to delete some warrior decks, had to change some things around, and I'm kind of like, oh, this deck is broken now, and I don't know how to fix it really. And so anyway, we're going to cover that a little bit. But what I want to do is kind of get into our pro tips. And now this is a brief section of the show where we're going to talk about how to make you a better player, whether it's through a better build, a killer card combo, or how to get a gear edge in Azeroth. And I'm actually taking a little bit of a different approach on this section. Sometimes we can come up with really awesome tips, and other times there's not so much out there that pop into our mind that's even really worth bringing up. I'm always going to give Hearthstone card combos and tips because it's a fresh game. It's an ever-changing meta, so it's very easy for me to do. I'm sure we're going to have tips galore when Reaper of Souls comes out, as well as Warlords. So I think for the time being, we will stick with Hearthstone tips unless Reb, Hoda, and Archon come up with something that's, you know, they really want to throw out there for you guys to soak up. So, but I do believe actually that you guys do have some pro tips this week, maybe? No? Hoda?
I
Reb?
believe Zen Style does.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. I come to work. So,
Reb and I just slack.
I'm
It's
in
okay.
every down kind of back. Anyway, so as I said earlier, I look at these patch notes. I've been trying to figure out like what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I've been I kind of started getting back into Priest now. I think the aggro's starting to slow down here. So Priest maybe a little bit safer to run, just like a super slow, annoying Priest control deck. Like I'm talking like Ragnaros and Ysera and Elite Tauren Chieftain. Why would you say that?
That is so
Because
not
they're
nice.
priest.
Reb.
I hate
The
priest.
light shall burn you.
Anduin's kind of boring, but so anyway, while playing Priest, I have noticed that occasionally you still come against people who are like rushing you kind of early. The Priest area of effect spell, Holy Nova, is really slow. It's 5 mana. It's really good once it comes out. Good turnaround potential on it, but it's really slow. So what I've kind of started doing is using Wild Pyromancer in conjunction with Power Word Shield. Now, Wild Pyromancer is a 3/2 for 2 that every time you play a spell, it deals 1 damage to all minions. So it's, it doesn't discriminate. It's a Scorched Earth policy when you need to get stuff off the board. So I will basically toss a Wild Pyromancer a Power Word Shield, which is a spell. It's going to bump him up to 4 health, do 1 damage to everything else on the board, and you can from there kind of like keep healing him. Basically, if they can't get him off the board and kind of recycling him, and combining it, Reb, I don't know what you're doing, and I hate it. And yeah, you can like use it with Smite and stuff. It is a great combo. I really like it as far as some early game potential for Priest, because that's what you need as a Priest, is to kind of get to that late game where you start dropping mind controls, faceless manipulators, just all these super annoying things that make everyone want to just concede and uninstall the game.
Yeah.
You gotta get to that point though. It's a progression. You don't just start out in love. You gotta go on a few dates first. So
Sure.
that's I would say Wild Pyromancer and Powered Shield. That's
Okay.
That's me.
Yeah.
That's what I got tonight.
And I've seen Wild Pyromancer being used more and more. Like it's becoming one of them staple cards. It's much like the Harvest Golem. You know, it's like you don't look at a deck that doesn't have one of these in them, and it's great for AOE and everything. Yeah, everything you just said. And I mean, it's a 3/2. You know, that you can use early on in the game, so it can hold its own as there as well. So.
Yeah, it really shines with Paladin decks if you run Equality, because what you do is you cast Equality, which brings the health of everything to 1.
Yep.
And then, including the Wild Pyromancer, and Equality just wipes the board. Everything's gone.
Yep.
So obviously, you'd want to use it while the other person has a bunch of minions and you don't, but it's a fantastic nuke from orbit option.
Sure. Absolutely. As far as my pro tip, this week I'm actually going to cover the strategy of picking and crafting your legendaries.
Ooh.
Right? So we'll give this a whirl. I've run from time to time into situations where I have enough dust to craft a legendary, but I don't know which one that I want. Here is the raw truth about legendaries, guys. Some of them are really good, but only if they're in the right deck. Okay? I mean, you can craft a card that works really well in an aggro deck, but that's the only home for it. Or you can craft a card that's nothing but a brick wall and a hassle to get around for one particular deck strategy. And a total waste of card space in another one. So here is some of the top legendary picks that I'd like to talk about, and basically how to effectively use them with your deck building strategy. The first off is the Blood Mage Thalnos, and he fits a good general niche with spell damage, flavor text, and the perk of a card draw upon death. The biggest reason to use him, though, is because of the previously mentioned spell damage. He's a 1/1 that costs 2 mana. And if you're playing a Shaman deck, it's a cheap way of buffing your board clearing abilities and maybe dodging the bullet for mana cost when you're sitting on an Overload or 2 from the previous turn. So, Cairn Bloodhoof is another one that this guy is actually, I mean, he's becoming more of a staple in the competitive play because he's basically a 2-for-1. Okay, he's a 4/5 with a 6 mana cost, and his flavor text reads that he has a Death Rattle. He summons a 4/5 Bane Bloodhoof. So you're getting 2 4/5s for the price of 1. So that's why it's a 2-for-1. And you could probably stretch it out for 2 or 3 turns depending on how your opponent's removal is. If you look at other competitive play, the Harvest Golem is almost a given in any constructed deck. This is the same type of thing, but on steroids. So for all of you who are running warrior decks out there, if you can craft a Gramash Hellscream, it might be in your best interest. Now, this is a personal pick of mine. Okay. I don't really see it too much in the competitive scene. I mean, from what I've seen at least. And so, yeah, it's just a personal pick. But he's a 4/9 with an 8 cost. He's got charge, and the flavor text reads that it's an enrage plus 6 attack. So if you can ping him with a spell of your own, he'll enrage to 10 attack and still have charge. It works really well with other cards like Cruel Taskmaster. And basically, Cruel Taskmaster is a minion that deals 1 damage to another minion and gives it plus 2 attack. So if you use a combo like that, that turns Garrosh into a 12/8 with charge, which is just stupid, insane. Yeah. And then there's Leroy Jenkins. Leroy Jenkins is one of the cards that I originally looked at and thought, it's cute, but I don't see a ton of value in it. And I was wrong. It's a 6/2 that costs 4 mana. He's got charge, but he summons 2 minions for your opponent. That is the part that turned me off to good old Leroy. But I was missing the point. The point is the charge for 6 damage. If you can buff him somehow, you can really take advantage of that. He's also a possible contender in my mind for a warrior deck, since you can buff him via Cruel Taskmaster and then use some awesome removal cards that the warrior deck has a ton of. Now, like Leroy is perfect for... I have Leroy in my Murloc aggro deck. Because it's constantly to the face with Murlocs and... buffing the Murlocs and just flooding the board with everything. And when you can come onto turn 4, turn 5 and drop Leroy Jenkins, and you've got 2 or 3 Murlocs already lined up that are already buffed to anywhere from 2 to 4 to 5 damage, you can drop him for 6. And I mean, it just wrecks shop. So, these are just 4 cards. They all have unique purposes. Some work better in one type of deck. and are useless in another. So I guess my ultimate pro tip of this week is don't base your legendary cards. Base your legendary around your deck. Base your what? Don't base your legend. Okay, I screwed that up in the show notes.
Your deck around your legendary.
Yeah. Don't. Don't base your deck around your legendary cards. Base your legendary cards around your deck. Pick the ones that are going to work the best for your deck strategy. Don't pick the legendaries simply because they're legendaries. Is that sound? Is that sound, Rob?
I mean, I get what you're trying to say, Twiz. I get it.
Aren't there a couple like almost must-haves? I think Sylvanas is like a must-have right now in most.
Yep.
Well, she actually just got her mana cost bumped up again, so it's going to be. I mean, I still think she's really good. I don't know if she's like the top pick anymore, but for a while she was like the number one legendary to have. Just all purpose. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. There again, it's like she's a legendary, but she can fit in almost any deck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she has her purpose.
Yeah.
She has her. She's a 5. Well, she's a 6 cost with a. She's still a 5/5 though, right?
Yeah, she's still 5/5.
Yeah.
Just cost 6 now.
And you know she takes over another minion. She has her purpose, and it doesn't affect any of your other abilities and your other spells. It's just like Rags. You know, Rags is like, you know, he's beast. You drop him, and he's gonna randomly smack somebody in the face for 8 damage, no matter what. But like that's his purpose. He can go in any deck.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
From rags to riches, basically.
That was dumb.
Or like from rags to swag.
Oh. So, but yeah, there's a ton of cards that are out there. But I mean, the ones that I picked, they serve a specific purpose inside of a certain deck. The only one that may be kind of wary is Karen Bloodhoof. He's another one that could kind of go in any deck, but he's worth crafting because he's a 2-for-1. You know what I mean?
Karen Bloodhoof is basically like Harvest Golem's senior.
Yep.
He's Harvest Golem's angry father.
Yes.
Can I just say, both of y'all mispronounce Cairn, and y'all say it like Karen. And I told my parents I was going to name my son, my firstborn son, Cairn. And when I told them that, they kept saying Karen, and it's because of people like you that I can't name my son Cairn.
Yeah, thanks.
You can take a boy out of Chicago, but you can't take Chicago out of a boy. You know?
Yeah, exactly. My words exactly, Twiz.
So
corrupted her firstborn, you guys. You guys are horrible people.
So,
yeah.
I mean, did you see her heart's on Happy Hour? Of course we're horrible people.
Yeah, it's fine. Exactly, right? Yeah. And I am going to make fun of you for giving your firstborn son women's names. I'm sorry for that.
Pound it!
So, call a spade a spade. So, anyways. All right, guys, that is going to take us to our very first break. So when we come back, we're going to be discussing some serious, awesome news that has been happening throughout the week. So real quick, we're going to take like a 43-second break, and we're going to be right back with this news. So in that meantime, get a drink, tweet a friend, Facebook a friend, call a friend, text a friend, and tell them that you are tuned in to episode 80 of TwizzCast. Today, we salute you, Mr. 3 frames per second man.
Mr. 3 frames per second man!
You dare dream of a world where the fire animation is something you can easily walk out of.
Get out of the fire!
You boldly embark on quests that take 4 times as long.
I don't know if I'm still in combat!
And one day, you'll actually be able to see your bobber dip when you fish.
I don't know if I should click now!
And Moonguard will no longer kick you due to FPS problems.
Mail not out looking for fun.
So here's to you, Mr. Sultan of Suck. DoghouseSystems.com can build you a rig and put you back in the game with the rest of us. You deserve it, your raid team and arena team deserve it, and so do the rest of us.
Mr. 3 frames per second man.
Go to DoghouseSystems.com and use the coupon code TWIZ at checkout to double your memory. TwizzCast would also like to remind you to game responsibly.
This is Greg Street, a.k.a. Ghost Crawler, and you are listening to TwizzCast.
What do you think? I like turtles. All right.
He's climbing in your windows. He's snatching your people up.
To me, it look like a leprechaun to me.
The news.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Okay, the Blizz Pro News is sponsored in part by AskMrRobot.com. If you want to push your character to his or her fullest potential, Ask Mr. Robot is going to make sure that your gear is set up to make that happen and make you the most efficient raider you possibly can be. As always, everybody, we are going to bring you up to speed on some of the articles that you may have missed this past week on BlizzPro.com. We don't cover all the articles, or just the ones that we think are good, because when it comes to news that's happening in the community and coming out of Blizzard Entertainment, BlizzPro has that news available as soon as it gets released officially. So, if you like what you're about to hear, feel free to go over to BlizzPro.com and read the full articles for yourself, and check out the vast amount of articles we did not have time to cover on the show. So, right off the bat, I thought it was a little bit fitting for me to use that sound bumper from Ghostcrawler, because we're going to start off with some news that is not Blizzard news all at the same time. It is Blizzard news, but it's not at the same time, if that makes sense. It isn't. It isn't. So, Greg...
Explain thyself.
I will. Greg Street, formerly the lead systems designer for World of Warcraft and a very public persona of the design team, has apparently updated his profile on LinkedIn, according to Reddit. He is now the lead game designer at Riot Games, creators of League of Legends. So, after his resignation from Blizzard in December, Street shrugged off his questions shrugged off the questions where he was headed, stating that it was a great opportunity and that he'd still be making games. If you're jumping from the world's most successful MMO to the world's most successful MOBA, I would certainly call that a great opportunity. At the end of the day, though, I'm just glad he jumped into a more forgiving player base with League of Legends.
What?
Yeah.
Riot, please.
Facetious.
Riot, please. Yeah.
That right there says Riot is paying the man.
Right.
Gotta pay the man.
I told y'all. If it made him leave Blizzard, it was a well-established company, and I knew it had
really
to be Riot.
the only place to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, honestly, they're pretty much. I can't see any other place that really like would you could even possibly consider like an upgrade. I guess.
I don't know. We got a pretty impressive Pizza Hut down the road from me. It's impressive. It's got like a ball pit. I mean,
Twiz, you like go up there to get your meat lovers pizza, and Greg hands it to you.
Right. No, you okay? All right. In all seriousness, though, like, yeah, it is an upgrade. I don't know. It's like Greg Street at Riot Games and League of Legends. I mean, good on him for making that switch, and good on him for if it's what he wants to do. He has his reasons, and I respect that. Anybody who has their reasons for doing anything they want to do, I respect that. But I don't know. It just feels like, I don't know. It's like when you wake up the next morning and you have a really bad hangover and everything, and you put your underwear on backwards. It's just not right. And
What's
it's like,
underwear?
I was gonna say, who wears that?
Well, I was assuming.
Honestly,
I'm talking to the people that do.
I think that maybe Riot wanted a human shield or a human punching bag, because I mean they get so much flack from all directions that they're like, oh, Greg's already had experience being the human punching bag. Let's put him up as our human shield. No, anybody else get that vibe? Just me?
I think the best thing about Ghostcrawler was always, to me, like how incredibly witty he was in his basically being mean to people who were giving him crap on Twitter. Like, my favorite quote will still forever be, he's like, I play whichever class you perceive to be as most overpowered. And like, I can't wait to see that like on Twitter when he's like talking about League of Legends heroes. He's like, they're like, oh, you probably play a lot of Blitzcrank, and he's like, oh, do you think he's overpowered? And they're like, well, of course. He's like, then of course I play him. Like, he is so clever and entertaining that I'm frankly like, I'm glad Riot got a hold of him. Sucks he's no longer with Blizzard, because I thought he was a top-notch guy, but I'm genuinely happy for him.
Right. And you know what, though? I mean, all that happened was he updated his profile on LinkedIn. It doesn't mean that he's working on League of Legends now. I think Sergeant Zim brought up something in the chat room that's very legit, and he was like, Riot has got to be working on something else big.
Ooh.
I just feel like we'd probably know about that a little bit. I mean, because all Riot really has is League of Legends, to the best of my knowledge, and like I would be surprised if they brought on Greg Street before we ever heard a whisper of a potential other title.
Yeah.
Well, like, what about an MMORPG?
Well,
do you think Riot could come out with something like that?
You know what? There's no way. I mean, there's no way that Greg Street can hide from going to Riot. There's no way that he can hide, and it's not eventually going to get found out. So it's like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to make the move, and then guess what? In a year, like, I mean, if he doesn't, you know, if he's a little bit on the tweeter here and there or whatever, like, he's going to be out of the spotlight because, I mean, we are a community that is constantly looking for the next shiny, you know, and that next shiny for us is Reaper of Souls. It's going to be Hearthstone. It's going to be Warlords or whatever, and that's going to tie us up. And I'm sorry, but the day that I go and pick up Warlords of Draenor, Greg, if you're listening, I love you, buddy, but I'm probably not going to be thinking about, I wonder what Greg Street's doing right now. I'm going to be thinking about, I'm going to get home and I'm going to play this. And so out of nowhere, a year and a half later, Riot comes out with this bomb of a game that's like, holy buckets, what is this all about? You know, and remember when old Greg Street a year and a half ago moved across the block? That's what's going on right now, and that's what I see happening. I think he's going to melt away a little bit, and I think Riot totally is working on something that's going to be pretty spectacular, and he's going to have a major hand in it.
I don't know about that, because there was a post by the League of Legends. It's red text, not blue text, like Blizzard, and it was by Murillo, who's also has the same title as Greg Street does, and people were wondering if he actually got replaced at Riot, but they said no. Greg just came in for the much needed help on the leadership side, they were saying in this post, and it looks like he's going to do kind of the same stuff he was doing at Blizzard, as focusing on like as you guys were saying, like nerfing and balancing classes and all that stuff, and especially in the League of Legends community, because, you know, it's such a wonderful community, right? I think he is that, as someone stated, that kind of shield, and he's going to be that kind of witty person to come back at them and explain why. Yep. So I think he's going to be kind of the same role he was at Blizzard for Riot. So I got to disagree with you a little bit, Twiz.
Okay.
Another thing worth considering here, this is a little bit of a MOBA veteran perspective, but having played League of Legends, Dota 2, Dota 1, and like Heroes of New Earth, League of Legends is absolutely the least polished game of those MOBAs.
Really?
It's not really very good at all, to be honest with you. As someone who's played a lot of MOBAs, like, it's very basic, it's very simple, the art style is not terrifically compelling. The fact is, it snowballed really well, became popular, it's easy to get into, and I think them bringing someone on who has kind of the expertise that he has, like, I think it's a very good way for them to look at, like, refining their product, you know, seeing what they can do. I think there comes a point where popularity obviously, you know, starts to run dry, and you have to present an actual product out there that, you know, compared to upcoming products, say Heroes of the Storm, you know, is still compelling for people to play. And, like, obviously, you know, Greg has worked for Blizzard. I'm, you know, sure he has some idea what the mindset of it is like in Blizzard, and he can provide that kind of like information. And I'm not saying like a spy thing even, but, you know, he can say like, well, this is, you know, the kind of stuff we, you know, wanted to go for, and this is the kind of mentality he can bring it in. Like, you know, make a sports reference, like they bring, you know, players in all the time on sports teams just to be like in the locker room and be like, you know, positive presences and like bring like, you know, their leadership and everything. So
right.
Exactly. And another thing in this post, they said they want to focus on the health of the game this year.
Yeah.
And they want to focus on adding choices and depth, and I think that's exactly what Greg can bring to it. So I would agree.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a good pickup for them. He's a great guy.
Yeah. Yep.
And also, kind of a side note too, it was maybe a couple days ago on MMO Champion, they posted like a huge thing of Greg Street's tweets. Greg Street's tweets. That's so difficult.
That sounds like a show segment waiting to happen.
I really thought you were going to say that MMO Champion data mined where Greg Street was going.
No, they kind of put a compilation of like his tweets, and it said directly he doesn't speak for Blizzard, but he had a lot of Blizzard comments and like how he feels on like game design and PvE as a person not in Blizzard anymore. It's very interesting to read, so that's definitely something you guys should go check out.
Nice.
Yeah, he's been a lot more candid now, which, you know, obviously you expect.
Of course.
He's had to comment on some stuff that he couldn't before. So
Yeah.
So, there's a little bit more to that article, and I'm going to have it linked in the show notes, so make sure you guys go over and check that out. So here is a little something that's interesting. As we mentioned last week, Ian the Watcher has a Coca-Cola, I don't know how to say it, has recently joined the Tweeter, and he can be followed at WatcherDev. Since he joined this particular social media experience, we're getting a small glimpse at some of the possible future of raiding content in Warlords. He tweeted earlier this week in a reply regarding an increase in cap to flex rating. He said, we're looking at 30 top end to accommodate existing 25's social structures, but no promises. Performance may be prohibitive. So there is a possibility that we may see 30-man flex rating going on in the Warlords expansion. So first off, what are your guys' thoughts about 30-man flex rating? Do you think this is going to happen or not? Because I've got some pros and some cons about it itself. But do you think? What do you guys? I mean, Hoda, what do you think?
Now, is this? I can't remember. Is this for looking for raid, normal, and heroic, or just looking for raid?
According to the tweet,
flex.
Yeah, just flex.
Remember, there is going to be no flex. Flex is going to be
well, then it would be standard rating. I see what you're saying, but standard rating is going to be flex based. So
now, you know what? I would actually not like to see this in normal and heroic, just because I feel it's more competitive and more, I guess. I think adding more people would just what am I trying to say? Like the graphics and everything would just bring down your frames per second. Just adding more spell textures and more people in there would just, I think, do some damage to like some people's machines. But now on the opposite end, in looking for raid, I would actually like to see this 30 to even 40 people, because in looking for raid, you have 2 tanks and your DPS queues are 30 minutes, like an hour long. If you just add more DPS and get those people in there faster and still have 7 healers, 2 tanks, it gets those queues quicker. And also, there's actually only 3 people doing anything and looking for raid anyway, so get more people in there, because at the most there's maybe 10 people in a looking for raid actually doing something, to be honest. And I think you just throw more people in there. Don't up the difficulty. Just get people ushered through the looking for raid. So I would like to see it in there, but not in normal and heroic. Okay. This is my.
Okay, my turn.
Go for it.
I had time to coagulate.
Okay.
I would not participate in a 30-man flex / what will be normal. Strictly for the reason that, since I've started trialing on this heroic team, I don't want to come across as an elitist or anything like that, but flexing was how I rated, for this patch in the beginning. And when you get in there, you get a lot of non-raiders, people who aren't on a raiding team, who don't have something they can consistently go to. It's just something that it kind of needs to be on their time when they're most convenient. A lot of those people don't have the discipline to be on a structured type raid team, so like a structured 10 or 25 man or a structured heroic team, and that gets really difficult. Like, say you're using like a chat system like Mumble, you get a whole bunch of undisciplined, just kind of like all over the place personalities, and you have stuff just flying off the walls. It's really difficult to kind of rally everybody around concepts and mechanics and work together when people don't have that background where they're like, okay, it's time to pull. I need to shut up. I need to get my food buff. I need to do this. I need to do that. And I think with 30 just random guildies getting together, or 30 people on your server getting together, I think it's going to be a whole big mess of doo-doo. And people are going to say, you know what? You're killing my buzz with the flex because you're being Hoda bad,
Oh.
Oh, wow.
I kid. But it is like that. And honestly, for a while there, I didn't have structure. Like, I went in, I didn't GAF. I just went around doing whatever I wanted to. And that's not the mentality that you need to have when you have 30 people.
Right. Well, no, I see your point. How about you, Rob? Anything you want?
Wow, I don't even know where to start because I frankly have no opinion about this.
Okay.
Being in Archon's box has gifted me the power to not be concerned about WoW.
to only care of West March and Sanctuary and things.
No, and let's make that clear, only loot. I ain't here to hear no stories.
Well, I do have some pros and cons. Okay, I'll start with a couple of the pros. If you can add more people and have less of them sit the bench, that's always GG. All right, there's nobody likes to sit the bench, and Flex has offered that ability to have Also, this is a great opportunity for organizations like Open Raid that can squeeze more people into raiding and increase the raid team's chances of total success. All right, I mean that's Am I right? When you can add more people, when you're somebody like Open Raid, they can add more people to a raid. That's a big win for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a couple of pros. Here's some cons. With 30 people, it's like herding cats. All right. So many people love the vanilla days with 40-man raids and everything like that. I think that back in those days, the encounters were less complex. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, Blizzard has even come right out and stated in blue posts that the encounter difficulties have scaled dramatically because of the smarter player base. The encounters have gotten harder, people. When they were less difficult in vanilla, it was easier to manage 40 people. Okay, you could have probably had 15 of those 40 be total idiots and still gotten by. All right.
That's what I was saying. Exactly.
Yeah. But nowadays, there's too much poo that you can stand in, too many mechanics to understand, and even getting 30 people in the same raid could likely be disastrous if the encounter design lives up to today's standards. So people I don't think the raiding style has changed, and we're not, say goodbye to the vanilla days, guys. It's not going to be like it was. I'm sorry. It's not going to be like it was. Unless, of course, you join Twisted Raiders and do the old content rating and stuff like that. Then it will be. But
nice.
A little plug. But no, in all real, I mean, it's not going to be how it was with 40-man raids and simple tank and spank and the mage tank and blah blah blah. I mean, it's very less complex. I mean, God, I was just thinking the other day. I was thinking about Karazhan. What was the big crystal guy? He was like there was little ads that went around the room and you damaged, what was his name? Constructor? Something like that.
Is he the one who's like, you will not enter the Emporium or something like that? I don't know.
Help me out, chat room. You know what I'm
Curator?
Curator. That's it.
Nice.
Yep, Curator.
Are you sure he was a robot?
What?
Yeah.
What did I say?
It was a crystal robot.
You said a crystal guy.
You said a crystal, and I was like, I don't remember a crystal.
I got
GG, noob.
You know what I'm talking about. Everybody shut up. All right. But no, I mean, like, look at the mechanics of that fight. It's you tank the boss, these little ads come out, you go from the boss to the ads, and then the boss goes into like an overload type phase where he takes more damage, and then that's it. Like, how simple is that? Versus nowadays where it's like, Immersius,
Dispel the debuff.
Immersius has a wave that goes around the room. There's green ads that you have to heal, black ads that you have to DPS down. You have to there's different waves. There's positioning. There's taunts that have to happen. I mean, and that's just the first fight. I mean, it gets even more hairy as you get into it. I mean, then look at Garage. Look at the Garage battle. So I mean, that was those kind of mechanics and that type of a raid environment wasn't around back then. So to bring in this many people and to try, I mean, it's more people means more potential for disaster. Now, if they're just raising the cap to 30 because there's some people that can pull it off and they're just trying to be accommodating, well then okay. But like, I don't
think it should be utilized.
They were looking, they were having trouble the last couple expansions, like with 25-man guilds anyways, right? So I don't see why upping it would do much help.
Yeah, I don't know.
I understand the flex system, but just bringing more people in is not,
Yep. No, you're exactly right, dude. You hit the nail on the head, brother. You hit the nail on the head. So,
but I still think it's kind of, in looking for it might be feasible, to be honest with you. Because like you were saying, those 15 or 40 people, those 15 people actually doing something, you might as well just throw them in LFR and get like more done faster, you know what I mean? I just think it would be good there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, we'll see. Again, this is just a tweet. There's nothing even saying that this is even going to happen. And they said, it might be like we talked about, performance might be prohibitive, So we'll see. But they're kicking it around, and we'll find out soon enough if it's going to happen, how it's going to work, and what they're going to do. So on the outside looking in, based off of one tweet, here that was the pros and cons that I generated out of that. So let's talk about Reb. Can you hook me up?
Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft.
Exactly. Thank you very much. Nailed it.
Yeah.
Every time she nails it.
Spot on. Golden.
Right. Basically, okay, guys, here's what's going on. Blizzard has released the info for the next upcoming Hearthstone patch, which came out today, Thursday, the 16th of January, as we are recording this now. And it's been greeted with mixed emotions. We covered this kind of briefly on the Hearthstone Happy Hour this past week, which is on the BlizzPro YouTube channel if you care to watch. But I'd like to dive a little bit more in depth with whether these were good fixes or bad ones. And Rob, I'm going to lean on you a little bit for some of this, but the biggest thing that they were working around is the one-turn kill deck. Okay, now here's how the one-turn kill deck worked and why a lot of these changes basically came about. I'm going to throw this up here for everybody to look. The one-turn kill deck was based around 3 cards. Okay, you've got the Warsong Commander, the Molten Giant, and the Youthful Brewmaster. So here's how this deck is built. The deck is built around survivability and minion and board control. You know, there's a lot of removal that was built into this deck. There's other cards like Shield Block, which gives you 5 armor and you draw a card. So there's a lot of card draw. Trying to get these 3 cards. So basically, here's what happens: is you try and stay alive, and you try and crowd control the minions as much as you possibly can from your opponent, until you can get your hands on 1 Warsong Commander, 1 Molten Giant, and 2 Youthful Brewmasters. And here's what happens: you get burned down to 10 health. Now, the Molten Giant is a 20 cost 8/8. And the flavor text says it costs 1 less for each damage your hero has taken. So by the time you get whittled down to 10 health, that guy is free. He's a 0 cost. So here's what the one-turn kill deck was your opponent is at 30 health, and you're down to 10 or below. You drop that Warsong Commander, okay? The Warsong Commander, the flavor text is, whenever you summon... oh, wait a minute. That's the new Warsong Commander, isn't it? Yeah, that's the one I have displayed is the new one. Before, the old Warsong Commander gives all of your minions charge. Okay? So you would lay that down. You would lay down your 0-cost Molten Giants. You'd smack them in the face for 8. Then you'd lay down a Youthful Brewmaster, and the battle cry on the Youthful Brewmaster says you return a friendly minion from the battlefield to your hand. So, you've laid down your Molten Giant, you smacked him in the face for 8, you put down your Youthful Brewmaster, you return that Molten Giant back to your hand, and then you play him again. And because you've played him again, he has charge from the Warsong Commander, because all of your minions have charge. So you smack your opponent in the face again for another 8. So there's 16 damage. You take your second Youthful Brewmaster, you drop him down, put the Molten Giant back in your hand. Play him again. Because he's a 0 cost, and he's got charge. So you smack him in the face again. So you have hit him 3 times in the face for 8 damage. That's 24. You've laid down 2 Youthful Brewmasters that also have charge because of your Warsong Commander. And there's your other 6. You got 2 Youthful Brewmasters. Pop him in the face for 3, pop him in the face for 3. You just took your opponent from 30 health to 0 in 1 turn. And that was viewed as a major problem, which obviously it is. It's cool, but you know what? We tried playing that deck, and I played that one-turn kill deck probably 7 or 8 times, and I got all the cards that I needed, maybe 3 of those games. Okay, so that's the thing, is they really affected some of the cards in here to completely destroy the one-turn kill deck, and there's 30 cards, and you're waiting for basically 4 cards out of that 30 to land in your hand to make it work. And it's so RNG based. There's nothing saying that you're going to get those cards that you need. There's nothing saying that, it's going to work out every time. Like I said, I was like 3 for 8 as far as actually pulling that off. But let's talk about some of the things that they changed. And that Warsong Commander that used to give all of your minions charge has been reworked. Now it reads, whenever you play a minion with 3 or less attack, it gives it charge. So that takes your Molten Giant, that was an 8/8, out of the picture. Basically, if you don't have a minion with 3 or less attack, it's not going to have charge, which makes that card, it hurts a lot.
So everything you just said, throw it out the window.
Yeah, yep, throw it out the window. That whole strategy. But, that's why this was a pretty impactful thing, because that was a really awe-striking deck. It was like, holy crap. Like you never saw it coming. You never saw it coming, which is what I loved about it. Is because it's like, oh, here I am at 30 health and I'm
my pants.
Right? Yeah, yeah. And then all of a sudden, boom, you're at 0, and it's like, what just happened here? And I mean, what an epic feeling of being able to pull off that card combo and totally turn the tables. To me, that's exciting. So, but these cards have changed. Charge, the actual card, because Warriors have a deck called Charge, or a spell called Charge, which gives one of your minions charge. You can pick it. So if you only have one of those Youthful Brewmasters, you could lay down your Molten Giant and then give him charge again, or whatever. Or if you, I don't know, whatever. It wasn't. No, that wasn't it. It was the Warsong Commander that I was trying to think of. But anyway, they changed charge. Not the keyword, but the actual spell itself, the card that says charge in the warrior deck. It's been reworked. It now costs 3 mana, and the card's new power reads: give a friendly minion +2 attack and charge. Rob, I want to pick your brain on why that change was made. What do you think about that?
Well, it was meant to obviously just to get rid of the 1-turn kill deck, which the explanation behind it, and it makes sense, is that they wanted matches to actually be, very intuitive and kind of interactive, and having a deck that functioned like the 1-turn kill deck did. It was very frustrating. You definitely had a string of bad luck, I saw when you were playing that deck, but I watched a lot of people who were routinely simulating that effect, and it just pretty much wrecked people. Now, what I think is as far as their change, if their goal was simply to destroy the 1-turn kill deck, fantastic, because they terminated it with extreme prejudice. As far as actually fixing the issue, I don't know that they did that, because the real problem is that Molten Giant is a free card if you're below 10 health. That's the real problem with this. You see it, Warlocks are running this card right now. Warsong Gulch basically took the bullet for Molten Giant, and the problem is the Warrior set is already one of the weakest in Hearthstone right now. Like, you're not really seeing it in any of the competitive scenes. The 1-turn kill was like the most recent time you've actually seen it. But otherwise, it's just like tumbleweeds when it comes to Warriors generally. So they nerfed Warsong
you're a little
Gulch.
biased, aren't you? Aren't you a warrior?
No, he's a pally.
I'm part pally, part rogue. So
what happened to your warrior? I thought you were rocking that. No,
I occasionally play it. I mean, it's I don't know. It's one of the things I've dabbled in. It's just one of those things where, like I said, the set was already not very good. And what they did, instead of addressing Molten Giant, the real problem, which is probably going to be a problem still in that Warlock deck that's going to start becoming a lot more popular, they didn't really address it. They just hurt Warriors more. And Charge is still not a good spell. Like, Charge wasn't a good spell before.
Right.
And now it's a worse one, basically. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really huge on this change. I like some of the changes in this patch. This one really struck me as kind of awkward, because I feel like they named the problem they had with the setup, and then they changed something kind of like adjacent to it, as opposed to addressing like what the real issue is, which is you can play a Molten Giant as many times once you're below 10 health as you have card recycling mechanics.
Right.
So if you have 2 Youthful Brewmasters, that's twice. If you have Ancient Pandora Brewmaster as well, which is the bigger panda that recycles,
right,
you can play it again. Like, that was the real issue.
Right.
Like I said, one turn
kills
dead, but I don't know that it really solved anything.
The issue is being able to play it all in one turn. That was the issue, not the fact that you could play it twice. I mean, because what's the difference between having an 8/8 of any other type? If I have 2 8/8s in my hand, what's the difference between playing one now and playing one later versus playing one, recycling it, and playing it again? The heart of the matter and the heart of the issue that they had was the fact that you were recycling it all on one turn over and over and over again.
Well, and that doesn't matter if you can't make the minion charge. Like, you can play Molten Giant 8 times in one turn, but if it doesn't charge, then it doesn't matter. It's one of those things where Warsong Commander with Warrior, prior to people discovering that combo, was used to kind of use stuff like the giant, like 7/7 Golem,
Sure.
Or other cards, because Warrior, their whole setup is geared towards charge. Like, that's what Grommash has.
Right.
That's what Core Crown Elite has. Like, you'd see people run Argent Commander. The idea is that they basically sit a turn, equip a weapon, and then on that one turn they burst you down with like charge creatures. And Warsong Commander kind of helped them do that, but that yeah.
Oh, Rob, do you think that it would fix the problem of having like the 1-turn ordeal? Oh, well, I mean, it's already fixed since.
Yeah, it's
it's dead now.
Yeah, but like wouldn't have been simpler to, I don't know, like say that the Molten Giant has to have like at least like you can knock down the mana cost, but it has to have at least a 5 mana cost. Like, wouldn't that have been a better solution? Don't you think?
Well, I think it would have been better than what's on the table now. Like the whole thing with Warsong Commander, where it only gives haste or charge to something with 3 or less attack, just seems like an arbitrary number. Like if you put down Raging Worgen and then you enrage it, it can't attack that turn because it gets the attack bonus. And that was one of the more common combos was Warsong Commander into a Raging Worgen. Now you can't really do that. The only combo I could even think of is like Warsong Commander, then you play like a Knife Juggler, another Knife Juggler, and then you play some 1-drops. And then like charge them all at that person. It's kind of like old Unleash the Hounds a little bit, but I don't know. I don't really think it actually handled much. Like I said, I like a lot of the changes. Did not like this one.
Okay. No, and yeah, I wasn't. I think it could have been. I think it could have been solved in different ways. But what this leads me to believe, or what this leads me to ask, is like, okay, let's look at what we all know what they took away. So let's look at what they gave us. Okay, they gave us a flavor text of whenever you play a minion with 3 or less attack, give it charge. So what do we have that's 3 or less attack? We got a crap ton of Murlocs. Am I right?
We do.
We have a crap ton of Murlocs. So although you sadly have to go to turn 10, I mean, you pretty much had to do that with the 1-turn kill deck anyway. So if you can survive your way to turn 10, then you can put that out there to 3 cost, put out basically all of your Murlocs that summon other scouts, that buff other ones. I mean, you could literally spend like 7 or 8 mana on Murlocs alone, and at least maybe get 3 or 4, possibly 5, depending on how many scouts you get.
Well,
in one turn, and they all have charge.
The only thing with that is if you play like the Murlocs that synergize with each other. Like if you play Murloc War Leader and it buffs up the other Murlocs, then they can't attack anymore that turn. They have to still be under 3. If that takes it away.
Does
like they get it? Yeah, if it goes above 3, that takes it away from what I was told. So
no, okay.
I mean,
well,
let me
I'm
double
gonna
check
test
that.
it out.
If not, then you're totally right.
Okay. I'm gonna because I did it. I played against the AI. I had the deck built, but I don't remember. I don't remember if they went over 3 or not. But dude, I had them buffed, man. I had him buffed, and then I dropped old Merc Guy because it was like it doesn't matter. He's got charge no matter what.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. If they do go above 3, does it cancel that effect or not? So
we can test that out and have that for like Hearthstone Happy Hour.
Okay,
if we can have the verdict on that.
That's a good point. So all right, we will find that out. Actually, we'll show you on Hearthstone Happy Hour, but I'm going to find out long before then. So they did make a change to Pyroblast. Pyroblast is straight up 10 damage. That used to be an 8 cost, and now it's a 10 cost. So it's a more expensive spell that nukes your entire turn 10, as opposed to making a very painful turn 8.
And mages everywhere cried out in pain.
Yeah.
And everyone else who, hated mages, rightfully so, was totally like, ha ha ha, you suck.
Right. Yeah. And my original stance on it was like I don't really. I think that there is a problem when you have one spell that can take away a third of your health. One spell, a third of your health. But at the same time, I'm sitting here trying to defend, how I can take away all of your health in one turn. So,
it's the change of Power Blast is interesting because it's one of those things now where it can't be comboed with anything else really.
Right.
Like you can combo with Sorcerer's Apprentice and then play like an Arcade Missile or a Frostbolt with it, which would require like a ton of setup, and that's still on turn 10 as opposed to turn 8 now.
Right.
But yeah, it slows down mages, which is good. It gives people a chance to actually do something about them. Because before it was just like turn 5 and 6, you'd eat a Fireball, you'd eat a Frostbolt, you would just keep eating other damage spells, and then if they had the 2 Power Blasts, which most mages were running,
right,
you were just dead in the water by like turn 9.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and you know what I mean. I think they looked at this and said, "This has got to be changed," especially since they took Mind Control from an 8 cost to a 10 cost.
Yeah,
that seemed to work effectively and stretch out the game, give more options, give more, because at a 10 cost, it's like, do you want to spend all of your mana on this turn on one card?
Right.
You know what I mean? And you still had that at turn 8. Do you want to spend all of your mana on turn 8? But at turn 10, the game is starting to go one way or the other. And it's like, at that point in time, it really does become a judgment call of like, here we are, he's at 12 health. do I want to go straight for the face and knock him down to 2, or should I save this until I'm in a better position? And it does generate more thought and more, so it works out, So I'm okay with it. But then again, I don't play a mage deck either, so whatever.
Yeah.
But Warlocks also did cry out in pain, everybody. The Blood Imp. It used to be a 1/1 with a 1 cost, and you'd throw it out there, and it would buff all of the minions that you ever put out there with 1 health, as long as there's no AoE to take it out, because it was stealth, couldn't be targeted. So all of the minions, it worked really, really well with.
And I heard
Warlock.
if you put a taunt on it, you just can't do anything, right, bro?
Yeah, pretty much. They
You actually
don't
auto
ever
win.
attack it.
Hey, you auto win right there. The game just ends.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It shuts down into maintenance.
Yeah.
But the Blood Imp is now a 0/1 that reads that the flavor text reads stealth, so it still has stealth. At the end of your turn, give another random friendly minion +1 health. What is your saying, Rob?
That is the pinche de no es bueno.
The pinche. What is it? Pinche.
De no es bueno.
De no es
It doesn't
bueno.
even make sense. I'm positive. I
No,
don't
that's
speak any
fine.
Spanish, so I don't.
But dude, it just sounds so
Yeah,
right.
sounds correct.
Pinche de no.
Warlocks
es bueno.
got nerfed. Everybody, yay!
Yeah.
All right. Screw Warlocks forever.
Yeah, it's just it's an RNG, and you know what though? I mean, it's an RNG that it gives a random minion +1 health. But you know what though? I mean, I don't see what was wrong with it, because you know what? You need an AoE to get rid of it. So that's smart card play. That's knowing and trying to overcome an obstacle, and then finally overcoming that obstacle. And, I mean, it's like, and that's what you have in the deck. It's just like the Warlock is trying to overcome the fact that you're a priest and you can heal yourself for 2 every turn.
Yep.
It's like...
Well, it's the problem with Warlock, and I don't think Warlock was necessarily like game-breakingly broken. Warlock was just slightly too strong. And the problem with Blood Imp is, everyone's AoE toolset is so radically different in Hearthstone. It's not like where they're just default spells you could get. Like in Magic the Gathering, depending on the color you picked, there were just spells that had like really good AoE.
Right.
But if you look at what like is in Hearthstone, like we were talking earlier, Priest has Holy Nova at 5. That is realistically, aside from getting into like rare cards, for their basic card set, that's the soonest they can possibly AoE. That's turn 5. You've already lost by then. Like, look at like the Mage Frost spells all got their mana cost bumped up. Like, it's just, they would put stuff down, and that Flame Imp would go from like a 3/2 to a 3/3, and a lot of the AoE spells only do 2 damage. And at that point, it's too crushingly strong. It did not come down to strategy, and especially if you didn't have AoE in your opening hand. Like, that's what the last phase of aggro really was. It was did you draw the right card in your opening hand? No. Okay, then you lose because Warlock aggro and Warlock aggro Murloc was just too good.
Absolutely, dude.
I think this was an overreaction to how they changed it, but I thought the real issue was Voidwalker, personally. Because, if you put down a Voidwalker and then like a Flame Imp, and then the Blood Imp buffs the Voidwalker to being like a 1/4,
Yep.
literally nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. You got to
Voidwalker stayed the same, so I guess Warlock aggro still might be viable. Ask Eldorian. He's probably retired since Warlock aggro got nerfed.
Yeah.
But,
it's true.
yeah.
He's in the chat room right now. He also says that what we were talking about before, as far as the charge, as soon as he buffs over 3, it no longer works.
Yeah, that's how I thought it worked, which, again, like really hamstrings how useful that card can be.
Yeah, exactly. He also says, all I do is ruin Hearthstone Happy Hour. It's my job title. And that's more truth coming out. So
I would expect nothing less from a guy who likes Doctor Who.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, so anyways, ultimately, when it comes to the one-turn kill deck and the Blood Imp,
you lose! Good day, sir!
And that's all we have to say about that. There are a few more changes to take a look at with the cards, but I think that these were ones that had the most reasoning behind them and were more of fixes instead of balancing. So check out the link that I'm going to have in the show notes, or you can go to hearthstone.blizzpro.com. Check it out for yourself. So moving right along, I wanted to bring this up and at least let you guys know about it, but we're going to be covering this more in depth with Archon next week, since I think truly he's going to be able to give more insight than what we're going to be able to generate. But if you guys remember, a few weeks ago, we sat down with John Yang and Travis Day of the Blizzard Diablo 3 development team and had a live hour-and-a-half brainstorming session on what the powers of the upcoming community-built legendary weapon would be. A lot of things got shot down because of things that we didn't know about, but good things still came from the community forums, the chat room, the ideas that we did generate on the show, and some other places. Well, the voting has started. So check out diablo.blizzpro.com for the article and the link to the voting page where you can look at the options that they have put out for us. Again, we're going to be covering this article more next week with Archon, but I briefly wanted to talk about it so people could go get a chance to vote. So that's all we're going to say about that, because this is Archon's alley, and we are not going to go down it without him. So the last article I want to cover, and this is I think this is a fun one. This really made me think. It's a fairly lengthy article written by Overlord Bunny, and I have to honestly say that it's pretty well thought out. It's called "What's in a Character's Name?" Now, when it comes to naming your characters, there are some people that play by the rules, and other people that really like just to basically see what they can get away with. I have to admit, I've been on both sides of the fence. Okay, I have a character named Silen in Twisted Dynasty. It was a screen name that was automatically generated for me one time, and I thought it sounded cool, so I've used it in certain places here and there. On the flip side of that coin, I have a disc priest named Oops, I Forded. Okay, so in this article, she discusses both sides of the fence on naming your character regarding your personality, what type of server you're on, and other things. Like, for example, on an RP server, you may have a lot of people with very unique names to define their characters. And on a PvP server, you'll likely run into somebody named Slice Your Nuts. Or something like that. So how do you guys personally, go about naming your characters, and what type of guidelines do you follow, if any?
Honestly, I name most of my characters after the perfumes that I wear. Yeah,
really?
So Rebel Fleur and Viva La Juicy and Chance and...
You have Katy Perry?
I do have Katy Perry because I have Katy Perry's perfume, Purr. So I named her Katy Perry.
The chat room still remembers Firecrotch, my mage, that Blizzard made me change.
I don't know. When it comes to names, I usually pick like character names from like past like D&D games, or I will pick like Paladam. My first tune in Cold Tears is obviously Paladam. And there was a hilarious video on YouTube where it's a guy reviewing Five Guys, and they songified it. And there's a part where he just goes, "Damn, damn, damn," and I'd like just listen to that, so I was like, Paladam.
Oh, I thought it was Paladam.
Well, you have to spell it to make it sound right when you say it.
Right.
You know, it's like, yeah. I'm not even gonna go there, but yeah, I picked up what you put down there.
Yeah, it was funny actually. My tune is Tahoda, who I usually play, and that was random name generated for me back in the day. So, and it just kind of fit because it was a Tauren shaman. So like the Tahoda kind of like...
It wasn't a Tauren druid?
I'm a Tauren druid.
Not quite.
Okay.
Similar. And it kind of just fit that theme, like you were saying, Reb. Like I have these theme for characters, right? And it was like a kind of the Native American tribes, like Dakota and Lakota. So it fit that way. But I also, like you, Twiz, have crazy character names. Like My Humps is my mage. She likes to rock it. So I'm kind of all over the place as well. So.
You know, I have my shaman that I named Oh So Fresh because I do have perfume
clean.
Oh So Fresh. And O is water in French. And so I thought it was really cute that it was like a shaman with healing rain, Oh So Fresh. And people made it so sick and perverted, and it makes me sick, y'all.
Hey.
We'll talk later about this in After Hours. But you know what, Twiz? I've been playing WoW for a while now, and there's absolutely no shortage of interesting names I've come across.
Sure, I bet.
Do you think maybe we could give the listeners some guidance on naming their tunes?
You know, I don't think for a second that we could not accommodate that. So, everybody, I give you the 3 most magical words that you are ever going to hear on this show. Off we go. The top 10 character names that probably wouldn't make it on an RP server. Ringing in at number 10, a resto druid named Chuck Nourish.
Number 9, Dora with the title The Explorer. I've already raided with enough kids. I don't need this too.
A tank name at number 8, a tank named Lego My Agro. too waffly, it's kind of a dead giveaway.
Yeah, absolutely.
At number 7, you can be a hunter named Stupid. Just don't name your pet I'm with Stupid.
It's obvious.
Number 6, a Tauren pally named Prot Roast. Although tasty, it's hard to convince me of the RP background.
The number 5 character name that probably would not make it on an RP server. Bull Cosby. With Jello pudding. That was good.
Any type of character named Balls would be alright, but stay away from the salty title.
Number 3, although you might be the best warrior tank around, having the name Cleavage doesn't exactly make me think of your tanking expertise.
Number 2, you guys might have a problem with it, but I would totally name a character Internet the Explorer. That'd be super flat.
Internet the Explorer. Oh gosh. And the number 1. Wait a minute. You know what? Hang on. I am having too much fun with this. What do you guys? Let's keep this going. Should we keep this going?
Let's do it.
Let's do this. Another top 10 list of character names that probably wouldn't make it on an RP server. Ringing in at number 10, it's okay to have Star Wars pride, but Mubaka crosses WoW and Star Wars, and frankly, there's just no room for that.
I don't know, Twiz, if you put the axe to Mubaka, does that mean I have to delete my pally Hearth Vader?
Hearth Vader.
Number 8, dude, if you're gonna delete Hearth Vader, then I'm deleting my pally Boba Fett. Alright?
Princess Leia on Hands would not be happy about that.
Okay.
Number 7, guys, quit crossing movies and WoW. It doesn't work and it sounds kind of stupid. So don't even think about a bear tank named Harry Pothead.
Number 6, druids can take on many forms. Travel, cat, bear, and aquatic, but piece of shift will not do you any RP favors.
No, piece of shift will definitely not. The number 5 character name that probably won't make it on an RP server, Worgen Fleeman. Don't try it if you don't have the voice to go with it and mumble. Enough said.
Number 4, when you're on an RP server, you're there to RP, not to spy, so delete your paladin 007 right now. You're giving yourself away a little bit.
007.
Number 3, honestly, having a tomb named Accident might work out for you. The PvP logs will always show you were killed by accident. Could possibly work out, you know?
Absolutely.
At number 2, I can respect trying to roleplay as a celebrity, but the name Paris Hilton isn't going to get you any friends, or it could get you a ton of them. It's honestly a crapshoot.
And the number 1 character names that probably wouldn't make it on an RP server, Priestitute or a hunter named Bojob. And if you do name them that, guys, just don't quest together, okay? Please, alright? My name is Twiz.
My name is Dwendon.
My name is Rodimus.
Honey Buns.
Piercy.
Sosa.
Sucker.
Triumphy. Zorander.
Punch Pop Fizz.
Danger's Agony.
Death Stance.
Use a Band-Aid. I run an Elemental Shaman.
I'm a Tauren Druid.
Enhancement Shaman.
Shadow Priest.
Play a Windwalker Monk. Blood Death Knight. Fury Warrior. Feral Druid.
Holy Priest. Frost Mage.
Brewmaster Monk.
I play an Enhancement Shaman.
Elemental Shaman. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee.
I'm from Illinois.
I'm from Ontario, Canada.
Fort Myers, Florida.
I live in Ashland, Alabama.
Peru, Illinois.
From Portsmouth, Ohio.
Colorado.
From Dover, Delaware.
I live in Pembroke, Ontario, Canada.
San Diego, California.
From Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Tennessee. And I'm in Twisted Dynasty.
I'm in Twisted Empire.
Twisted Empire.
Twisted Empire.
In Twisted Empire.
Twisted Dynasty.
I am in Twisted Kingdom.
The Twisted Empire.
And I am in Twisted Empire.
And I am in Twisted Empire.
And I am in Twisted Dynasty.
Twisted Empire.
I'm in Twisted Empire.
Twisted Dynasty.
I am the GM for Twisted Dynasty.
And I run the Twisted Nation. Ladies and gentlemen, it is no secret if you've been listening to this show that Twisted Empire is a big part of the gaming community. Over a year ago, there were 10 of us that said this is what we need to become, and here we are today. The Horde side of the community wears the Twisted Empire tag, the Twisted Kingdom tag, and the Alliance side displays Twisted Dynasty. Everyone who wears these tags knows that there is a 50-50 split between the game you play and the people that you play with. We don't look down on people for not being heroic progression raiders. We also don't look down on people who ask honest questions because they just don't know the answers. I owed it to myself to be surrounded by people who want to enjoy the game. And let's be honest, so do you. It's time to stop logging into game and feeling like you're droning around in circles all day, surrounded by people who don't care about you and don't know you. Twisted Empire, Twisted Kingdom, and Twisted Dynasty. All 3 guilds located on the Kultiris US server. Welcome home.
Been sitting here copying the mail at the home 20.
Okay, let's get into some of the emails that we got here, and it's like either feast or famine. For the past couple of weeks, we haven't had very many emails, and the floodgates open, so we have a bunch of awesome emails that we are going to get through, guys. Wait till you hear these, like seriously, I'm not even joking. So last week, we had Winglings offer up 2 amazing 2014 World of Warcraft calendars, and I pondered on a sort of contest that what kind of contest could we have to give these away? And I think I've come up with a good idea, okay? After the show's over, we have the after hours portion that is not part of the download if you're listening to this. We kind of unwind and talk about whatever and have a good time. What I'd like to do is this week, send me some funny character names that you guys come up with or you see or whatever. We're going to read them during next week's after hours, and we're going to choose a winner. The winner will get 1 calendar. Next, I'm going to create a tune with that name, and I'm going to hide somewhere in Azeroth. First person who finds me will get the other calendar. Sound legit?
Wow, like all of Azeroth? Are you like going to be like on one continent or the other?
I'll give hints. I'll be like, I'm in Outlands.
Oh, okay, that's sweet.
Because I'm not going to sit around for 6 hours waiting for somebody to find me.
Add you to friends list.
Yeah.
He'll be like, I'm in the air.
Yeah, I'm in the air.
I'm in the twisting nether.
Oh God, yeah. I'm at the character select screen. So
nice.
Good luck.
No, that sounds really fun. That'd be cool.
Yeah. So send in your funny tune names to podcast@blizzbro.com, and we are going to read them during next week's after hours. So I think that's a pretty fitting. Yeah, it fits, especially after that top 20 list, which Battle Panda says it's only 19, but.
No, because Princess Leia Hands
right.
and Bubble Fett are in the same number, so it ended up being 20.
Thank you for sponging up what I'm spilling.
You people obviously don't know how many problems y'all have because math is one of them.
Word. So the first email that we got is from Enzo0. He says, "Hey, TwizzCast crew, I've been a loyal listener for quite some time. I enjoy listening to the show every week. The funny thing is, I haven't been a WoW subscriber for something like 2 years. Although I thought that the game was really good, I felt surrounded by people who were selfish, arrogant, and downright mean. I tried more than a few times to get into raid teams, and everyone would tell me that I couldn't join unless I could link the achievement for completing said raid. I don't understand this. How can I get the achievement without having it first? This left me with a bad taste in my mouth, and the idea that MMOs were just not for me. That is... ... until recently. Through listening to your show and a few others, I've had some thoughts about returning. I really like what you guys have done in creating and cultivating the Twisted Nation, and came to the conclusion that if I would come back, it would be to have a place and take part in the whole Twisted Empire thing. I have heard that sending someone a Scroll of Resurrection grants them a free server transfer or a boosted character. Is this true? If so, I would love for someone in the nation to send me a Scroll of Resurrection so that I may come back and find out what this game really has to offer. Thank you for the cool show to listen to every week, and thank you for what you do in the Blizzard community. Yours truly, Enzo0. So, first up, is that Scroll of Resurrection still in effect? I don't think it is.
It is, but it does not. I don't believe it gives you a transfer or a boosted character. I don't think there's anything for a free server transfer, and the boosted character is recruit a friend. So
no, the boosted character. No, I know what they're talking about. This happened back in Cataclysm. You got a free level 80. You got a free level 80 and 5,000 gold and a whole bunch of bags and stuff like that when you sent a Scroll of Resurrection, they came back and paid for 30 days of WoW. I know. I got it.
You're right, yeah. You're right. Okay.
I got it. So that's what they're talking. That's what he's talking about, and something's telling me that that's no longer in effect. I'm sure JR in the chat room probably knows the answer to that, as well as
You're saying it's a free 85.
Okay, it's a free 85 then.
Yeah,
okay.
So not like a free 90, but
Okay. Well, the chat room seems to be saying, okay. Well, yeah. JR says that promotion ended a while back. So that is I'm never gonna learn that, Rob. El pinche de no es bueno.
Pinche de no es bueno.
I love it. It just rings. It's so perfect. Maybe that's why I can't grab on them. I'm just not worthy of it. But you know what? I know the scroll. I know there are other perks that come with the Scroll of Resurrection. I'm not sure exactly what they are. So
there's some debate of like how long somebody is gone. So 2 years is quite a bit of time. People are saying, I have no idea, to be honest with you. People are saying level 80 and you get a free transfer. People are saying you get an 85 and other things. I have no idea. Okay.
So Fug says my real life friend did it recently. So if he just did it literally last week. So what was the outcome, Fugs? Because again, I thought that
who's Fugs?
I mean,
a bit of the thunder from down under going, hey guys.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, Fug says I got the mount, he got the level 80. So
if that's wrong, lynch Fugs.
That's right.
Now, I don't know.
What's that? Character boosted to level 80. Limited time offer. Free upgrade to Cataclysm. 7 free days of game time. That's directly from the site.
That's what I believe, yes. Because I think people are kind of mixing Recruit a Friend, which is different than Scroll of Resurrection.
Yeah.
So I think Sosa's got it right there.
Well, at the end of the day, you know,
Enzo, welcome home, buddy.
Yeah, Enzo, welcome home,
absolutely.
dude. Welcome home. Would love to have you on board. Enzo also gave me like some of his information. So if you want to send him a Scroll of Resurrection, if we find out whether it's just a week of WoW or it's, you know, a free 80 or it's a mount or Greg Street comes to your house and plays League of Legends with you, whatever the prize is, if you're interested in bringing him into the nation, send me an email, podcast@blizzpro.com, and I will hook the two of you guys up so you guys can work that out. So he gave me the information. So, but yeah, you know what? I mean, what's really funny is I find these people that they still listen to WoW podcasts, but they don't play WoW. And I hear that a lot, especially from TwizzCast, because we cover all the games. It's like, yeah, I haven't played WoW for 2 years or whatever, or a year or blah blah blah. But I dabble in Diablo, and I jumped on the Hearthstone bandwagon for a little while, and that's why I listen to your show. You know, I get all the games, not just one game. But there's still people out there that haven't played WoW in forever, but they still follow it. They still know what's going on with it. They still, but they just don't play it. And that's crazy. I mean, it's cool. It's cool if whatever.
Yeah, it's really cool. Especially people have different, especially when they get older, more responsibilities, and they may not have as much gaming time as they want. I think it's a great way, any sort of podcasting, especially TwizzCast,
right?
To keep up with that sort of interest they have. So I think it's a great outlet, and I'm happy they listen. Thank you.
Absolutely. So yeah, Enzo, I hope to catch you in the green text, brother. So let's move on to the next email that we got, which is from Blue, who is the GM of Twisted Dynasty. And last week we had a discussion about having a neutral race.
Boo!
Yes! Yes!
I'm neutral on this whole subject.
That's right. It went back and forth. We had a really good discussion on it. So check out episode 79 if you haven't listened to it. But we had a really good discussion about it all stemmed from the fact that, what's his name, Dinglenuts, was out there leveling his neutral panda via herb gathering, and he dinged level 80, and he still is yet to pick a faction. So that's what spurred this whole conversation. And Blue weighed in on it, and he says, hey, TwizzCast crew, I personally feel a neutral faction definitely could have its place. Take the Pandaren. I truly feel, after all, that has happened, they couldn't hold their allegiance to the Horde. I also don't see the Alliance readily willing to let someone who fought against them to just join up freely. There could be a rep grind to join up with the Alliance, but till then, they would have to be neutral. I also feel a lot of Pandaren may abandon the alliance due to the fact that they brought the war to Pandaria. And let's face it takes two to tango. It is also a great place for merchants to peddle their war wares back and forth, thus appealing to goblins. Those are the obvious races that I can see willingly choosing to go alliance. What do you feel are other races that this shift could actually make sense for? Maybe it could be a not so neutral but more of a mercenary faction. Thus, it would make sense for them to join up with one side or the other when they had to. So going along with the new cosmetic change possibilities, Untainted Orc would have no real allegiance to the Horde, and can you see them following Vol'jin? And Vol'jin is in the chat room right now. Sorry, man, no offense. They just like to fight and conquer. Thus, a mercenary faction would be great for them. The Dark Iron Dwarves, they also do not have a strong allegiance to the Alliance, and I could easily see them hired and actually fighting against them. Maybe infected gnomes would fit well with this bloodthirsty group. It allows for a lot of interesting choices. Do I think it'll happen anytime soon? No, not really. It would be an interesting twist, and I'm not opposed to it. A faithful listener, Blue.
I agree. It's interesting to think about. I agree that I don't see it happening anytime soon. But no! No, you will not take away my two factions and butting heads, and it's life. It is the lifeblood that courses through me to hate the other faction.
Now, Rab, do I want to blow your mind for a second? I was talking about Greg Street's tweets. Got it this time.
Street's tweets. It's like Blue's Clues.
Totally. Good segment. I like that. And somebody asked him about the kind of a neutral faction sort of thing, and he said if he was developing a new MMO, he would actually put a neutral faction in there because he feels like it limits playing with your friends. So I'm just saying, Greg Street's on board. I don't know. You're kind of.
I don't know about going forward. I always personally felt that the High Elves should have been a neutral faction. Here's why. Like, obviously, and they're the Blood Elves now in World of Warcraft, and they joined with the Horde way back in Burning Crusade. But like, they were pretty long-standing members of the Alliance according to lore. And basically, Garithos, some dude with a big mouth that doesn't make any sense if you play Warcraft 3 because it's like jowling all over the place. He's the turd in the punch bowl basically, and ruins it. And then like, rather than ever talking to anybody else in the Alliance, the High Elves are just like, nope, screw it, we're joining the Horde now. And even now, you see them all over the place in Alliance camps. Like, there's like, I was just in Winter. It's one of the first Alliance areas in Dragonblight. There's just like a million High Elves, and they're working with the Alliance, and you see it in like the Silver Covenant. Like, you run into them all the time.
Are you talking about the Kaldurai?
No.
Is that a pizza? Is that
no.
a pizza? Can I eat it? No. I'm just saying, like, I personally would have liked to have seen them in a more neutral race, because I think their alliance with the Horde, especially in terms of evolving politics, like if you did the domination point dailies, like I wrote an article about this a while ago in BlizzPro, but if you did the domination point dailies, it really doesn't feel like the Blood Elves have like any reason to be in the Horde. Like, they haven't for a while, and like Mists of Pandaria was just like the icing on the cake with everything that happened between like Lorthamar and Garrosh. So I always personally felt like the High Elves should have been a neutral faction. Kind of wish I could play an Alliance High Elf because I'm Alliance now, and the Horde are a bunch of dirty animals.
High Elves are different than Blood Elves. I agree, Sosa. Because the High Elves actually hate everybody.
No.
Yeah.
You're totally wrong.
They hate everybody.
They're not the Kaldurai. Kaldurai are the Night Elves. They're not the High Elves.
Blood Elves are not High Elves.
Yeah.
Blood Elves are High Elves. They're just named different.
They were High Elves, but now they are Blood Elves.
Yeah.
They are a different type of elf.
The last time,
they're not a type. They're the same kind of elf. They're just a different allegiance.
The last time I saw a High Elf was when I took my little kid to see Santa, and it's because it was in the wrong part of town. Okay? So...
No.
That's all I can add to this.
To save this conversation from
good after hours. We'll get this going. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving along.
Moving along. We'll have that. Okay. So, the next one we got is really cool. It is from a Twisted Raider. The open raid, a partnership with the Twisted Nation. This is actually from Marion, Merian. Marion. Says, hello, I've been listening to TwizzCast for a while now and have frequently thought about rolling a new toon just to see what it's like in the nation. When you talked about the Reroll Guild, I got excited. I played since BC, but never raided. Though I've run some old raids with just a few people, and I've done LFR. I have a little friends and family guild. I rolled and joined Twisted Raiders and convinced my hubby to come too. His name is Locksley, Loccssley. He's a human hunter, and it's been good so far. We even had occasion to ask for guildy help and some nasty board horde tearing up quest givers. We're leveling fast, and I can't wait to raid. Thank you so much for a friendly environment, Michelle, a.k.a. Marion, the human priest in Twisted Raiders.
Woo!
So that's awesome. That's awesome. And I love forwarding this to the open raid team because they're like, oh, they get to see this stuff and they get to understand, and see the difference that they're making through this whole thing. So and that's awesome. That's awesome. It's nice to have a little friends and family guild. That's where I was at one point in time. It was a little friends and family guild. It was a bunch of guys that were in the Air Force with me, and we did our own thing, and it was all good. And then we all got deployed, and the guild fell apart, and that's what happens. And so started moving around, and here we are today with the Twisted Nation. But there's nothing wrong with little friends and family guilds and stuff like that. But when you can still come over to the nation and get that family experience and get that we give a crap about you experience, I'll tell you what, being surrounded by the good people and the right people that's what makes the game experience for you.
And it's really cool that she was able to bring her husband along too, and it's like they both have a place among the guild, and maybe branch out and find some more friends and fall in love with the guild too.
Yep.
And Reb, I think you can back me up. Just the Twisted Raiders, I think there's just an atmosphere of excitement of raiding at 60. It's crazy. Like people are
everybody's
just
like, oh, you want to level together? I'm like level 40. Yeah, I'm level 42.
Really fun to see, to be honest.
Yeah.
So good form. Well, you know what, Marianne, I am very, very glad that you are part of this. And I do have a tune in Twisted Raiders. I did forget to bring that up. I have a 42 paladin named, I think it's Holy Twiz, and he's Prot. Go figure. So whatever. So yeah, hopefully I will catch you in the green text there, and you can add Holy Twiz to your friends list. The next one we got is from Sosa. Breb, do you want to read this?
Surely.
Don't call me Shirley.
It says, thank you, Raid Lead. Hey, TwizzCast crew, Sosa here. As those of you in Twisted Empire, Archon, join us, will relay the message. May have noticed we have a lot of people wanting to raid, but we had run out of people willing to lead raid teams. I finally decided that someone had to stand up, put on their big girl pants, and play leader. I put out a call for people wanting to raid and immediately got applications. Team Spotlight is set up to start tomorrow night if all goes well with myself and 9 other Twisted guildies. What people may not understand is that arranging this raid team was not easy. I don't know if that's supposed to be arranging. Arranging this raid team was not easy. Between building a working raid composition and trying to find a window for 10 different people with different schedules to raid in, it's a lot of work. Plus all the communication with everyone. And the hardest part for me was having to turn people away. Now I'm trying to decide what loot rules should be, should we use, and we'll have to figure out how Flask and Feast will be handled. I know that raiding with this new team will be fun, and we'll learn to work together and be killing bosses in no time. But this experience has really made me look at my raiding experience in a whole new light. If you're in a raid team, take a second to appreciate the raid lead or leads. They went through a lot of work making your group into a team. And if you want to raid, think about following in my shoes. It isn't easy, but if you're the one making the team, you're guaranteed a spot. And 9 other people will be very grateful for the chance to raid. Sosa, P.S. Wish me luck. Team Spotlight. Go!
You know what?
Congrats, Sosa.
And she brings up a lot of valid points. I had a very lengthy officer meeting last night with the Twisted Nation officers, and this is one of the things that got brought up was raid leading, and what you can potentially run into, and we talked about some of the guildies that are in some of the guilds that want to raid, but they don't want to take the initiative to start a raid team. You know, it's like, I'm here. If I can raid, I will, but I'm not going to start it. and I don't want to raid lead. A lot of people are under that assumption that if you're going to start a raid team, you're automatically the raid leader, and it doesn't have to be that way. I started numerous teams, but I mean, technically, was I the raid leader? Yeah, I handed out the loot, but we worked through the fights together as a team. If this wasn't working, that wasn't working, this did work. We talked about it, and we progressed as a team. Raid leading is also it's been proven to be effective when you have somebody who's very aggressive, very in your face, and whatever. And people think they have to be that way, and they don't want to be that way. So therefore, I'm not going to start a raid team because I don't want to raid lead because I have to be that way, and I'm not that way. And it doesn't have to be like that. So, I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to raid, don't be afraid to start putting together a team. Also, people are afraid that let's say I put this team together and we don't progress and we don't do well and the team falls apart. Look at how much time I wasted trying to put this all together, and the other 9 people have nothing to lose. If the team fails or if they just want to leave, they can, because they don't have anything invested in it, whatever. And so I couldn't deal with having the team fail and having it look like I failed and yada yada yada. And that's the way of it. When you build a team, you don't know how it's going to do. All you can do is put your best foot forward. And if it falls apart, then it falls apart. But you have potential for progression. You have potential to be better friends with guildies you didn't even know. And creating those memories, creating those funny experiences, creating the team name, and being excited about raiding. And, you have 1 negative and 6, 7, 8 positives. So don't be afraid of that. That's all I had to say about that.
Yeah, it's a little tough, like she was saying. If you want to get a raid team together and you suggest that you're automatically the raid leader of everything, which is very stressful, I get. So I think the main thing to do here is a little advice. Try to get those people right away. Just pull people in, and then communication is key, I believe. You might have to be the overall sayer of the group, but maybe find a raid leader for encounters, so you don't have to do that. You can be more of what's working in the background, like you said, who's going to bring flasks, what the loot rules are, and stuff like that. So I think just assigning or even asking people if they want different kind of leads on the team is very important.
Yeah.
And as far as loot rules go, I think need before greed in a 10-man is very useful, because like you said, in a family environment guild, I think you're just going to be communicating anyways, so you might as well just I think that's the best way, rather than a DKP system or anything.
Sure. No, absolutely, dude. And there was another point that you brought up in what you were just talking about. Oh, as far as job responsibility, okay? You have a raid leader or whatever, but you know what else has been successful? Is take one of your healers and you're in charge of the healers. You've got, on a 10-man team, you got 3 healers, 2 tanks, and 5 DPS. So the 2 tanks work together as a team. The one healer manages the healers and tells the other ones how to heal. The DPS manages the DPS. And you have one person that's responsible for all 3 pieces of that pie of success. And and so it's all a team effort. I've seen that work before. And it's I don't have to worry about the healers and telling the heal and finding out why this person is lacking or not doing as good a job or whatever, because the guy I have in charge of it is all over it like white on rice. So that's another strategy.
Absolutely. And just get that communication between those groups. That somebody doesn't even have to be a leader, like you said. Just have them talking, and I think that's good.
Yep. So, well, very good. So, best of luck to you guys, and we have one more email to go through, and I kind of want to read this. I do want to read this myself. So sorry if it looks like I favored Reb during the email section.
Suckers!
This podcast.
I know. It has reached
is ruled by women.
Has reached a new low. Right. So no, this email is from Aranya Phoenix, and I think she's in the chat room right now. I think. Let me triple check.
Yeah.
Yep, she sure is. She sure is. So she sent me an email that was called "My Place in the Nation," and it was pretty amazing. She says, "Dear Twiz, I'm thinking that it's probably about time that I explain myself and why I haven't, quote, officially joined any of the Twisted guilds in World of Warcraft. Up to now, it's been something that I would describe as, quote, they adopted me. Informal, but no less meaningful. I began in WoW some years ago with my best friend, and we weren't two-manning everything under the sun together. I was a hardcore soloer. I needed no one. I wanted no one. People were a bother at best, and I didn't care at all about fan sites or communities beyond what information I could get from Wowhead, WowWiki, and Wowpedia. I just didn't give a damn. That all changed after Hearthstone was announced, and I started looking for people to connect with and learn from. Since my best friend didn't really have the patience or mercy to effectively teach me the fundamentals of strategy card games, this got me started with being involved with the community. Pretty soon I ended up on Twitter, making friends, many of whom were in the Twisted Nation, most notably Angry Orc. And I couldn't believe the fun that I was having. The camaraderie and generosity that I encountered blew me away. Over time, it got to a point where everyone was in agreement with the guildies of the Twisted Nation. Everyone was in agreement that the guildies of the Twisted Nation had pretty much taken me under their wing. And Honey even said, "Might as well join, we claim you already." So that warmed my heart and made my day. I wish I could say that my retirement from WoW was only as complicated as a mere matter of finance, but it's not. There were some other issues that were mucking it up, and in addition to that. I'll spare you the drama, but suffice to say that free-to-play is where it stays right now as far as gaming with friends is concerned, which is totally respectable.
Yeah.
Zero wrong with that. Be that it as may, I would very much like to sign up on the forums of the guild website and send in my voice recordings to you for the TwizzCast commercial. My name is Aranya. I play a mage. I run a mage deck, and I'm part of the Twisted Nation that you announced. But no matter what happens, I want to thank you and everyone in the Twisted Nation for all the love and good times. You guys made me give a damn about being around for something again. And that means more than you will ever know. All my respect, at Aranya Phoenix. So that was, that's, I don't even really know what to say, I mean.
Twiz is gonna cry on the stream.
I'm not gonna. Don't look at me. Stop looking at me. No, I mean, it's absolutely, and that's why I've branched out the Twisted Nation to have a Diablo presence and a Hearthstone presence and stuff like that. Not everybody's playing WoW anymore, but that still doesn't mean you shouldn't play with good people. That doesn't mean that you have to log onto Hearthstone and play solo all day, every day, not knowing who's on the other end of that. And, it could be somebody you could really hit it off with. And that's what we're trying to afford. And that's what it's becoming. And people are loving it. And people like you are the reason why this is working. So, you know what? You are exactly where you need to be. And if you listen to the show, I mean, I'm not an all or none guy. I'm not you have to have tunes in my guild and you have to be in guild chat and you have to, play Hearthstone and Diablo and you have to, bleed Twisted Nation. That's crap. Get over that, That's not how it is. You play the game to have fun with people that you can have fun with. And that's what I'm trying to provide here. So it obviously seems to be working for you. Welcome aboard. Whether you have a tune in my nation or not, you're in it. So.
I think it's pretty amazing what social media has done for gaming in general. Like she said, just being on Twitter, she found a little niche of gaming she likes, being like Warcraft and everything. And she found these people, and now she can go into these games with like Real ID and actually chat with people like on a more personal level. And it's just like bringing all those things together is so accessible. And it's wonderful for people that actually want to be like more involved in community like aspects of a game. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah. No, that's a funny story. It's actually how I met Twiz and I got involved in Twisted Empire was back in the day. Mm-hmm. I was writing an article about like social media and MMOs, and like I had just started seeing people on WoW on Twitter, which was like totally crazy to me because I used to cover like basketball. Like that's what I wrote about.
Right.
And then I saw that and I actually got in game, talked with Twiz for a bit, and that was how I got involved in all that. That was me. Secret
I
Agent
remember
Rob.
that.
Yeah, that was all this guy.
Yep.
Had a good like hour and a half chat with Twiz. He sold me on what he was doing. I respected it, and that's how I joined.
That's sold you some other stuff, you know.
That's right.
And now I make fun of him on Hearthstone every Monday night.
That's right.
So
That's right. You make fun of me, and JR just shoots us both down and brings the show down.
Well, JR is literally the fun police, and he's like, no fun allowed.
which is why it's just so perfect in every way. I love it.
It is. We have a little bit of everything except pretty. We totally lack pretty because we're all pretty ugly.
That's right.
Yeah, I like the horse head, though.
It is pretty neat. It is pretty neat. So
I like the shark.
All right, guys. That, after a amazing 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 20 seconds, is going to bring this episode of TwizzCast to a close. I would like to thank everybody for joining us. The chat room, you guys are amazing. Be sure to give us a thumbs up on Stitcher. Again, I can't say it enough. I really don't give a good damn about Stitcher. And if you have the time to leave us a review on iTunes, it helps people find us even more. You can also get the RSS feed from TwizzCast.com if you have an RSS player, which is a huge quality increase, just here to say. For all the information and the articles that we covered on this episode, you can go to TwizzCast.com or BlizzPro.com. We're going to have links to everything in the show notes as well. One more quick mention of our sponsors, Doghouse Systems, 5 letters, Twiz, doubles your memory on your upgraded gaming rig for free. Some of the best customer service you're ever going to find. Again, customer service is the most important when your computer goes down, and life sucks when your computer's down. If you've ever had it happen, you know what I'm saying. So get a system that stands behind their product, and Doghouse is definitely the way you want to go with that. So, ladies first, before we get out of here, Rob, do you have anything you'd like to say to the masses?
I believe you have spoken in error. Rev, is there anything you would like to say to the masses?
Guest women before beauty.
Oh,
what?
Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead.
I don't know what's happening.
Oh, well, thanks for having me again. I will aim to be in Twizz's box at some point to complete my conquest of all of your boxes.
There are some days where you can have it, brother.
Always have a ton of fun, guys. Just reiterating what Twizz said, obviously, I don't really bring it up that much, but I love BlizzPro. I love writing for it. You guys should check it out. We got a bunch of good news. We just got the new Diablo site up. We got a Here's the Storm site up. We're practicing some shoutcasting matches. We are just a bunch of nerds. So come hang out with us. Yeah, always fun.
GG. How about you, Hoda?
Great Scott! I don't think we ever explained the Doc Brown lines going on today. Anyways, my hair is stuck up like Doc Brown, and they made fun of me, so
love it.
I figured I'd keep going.
Nothing wrong with that, dude.
1.21 gigawatts!
1.21 gigahertz.
Once this podcast reaches 88 miles an hour, we go back in time.
That's right. Yeah, we go back in time, roughly 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 43 seconds, and maybe we can do this podcast right. We'll give that a
Doubtful.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Doubtful.
Nope.
Reb, how about you, dear?
Sure. First off, check out these guys playing some Hearthstone Happy Hour on Monday. It's a ton of fun to watch. You're going to have a hoot and a half. Secondly, gaming will be whatever you want it to be. So don't be an elitist and have fun and love each other. And hugs and kisses for all my fishes.
Holy cow.
I think I lost 20 IQ points in the middle of all that.
It's okay. She names her tunes after perfume. So
It's true.
It's all good. So
crushed.
I probably just forgot someone's important birthday, but I will always remember that.
It's true. That's okay. That's all right. You got to clear out the old space and make room for the new. So with all of that said, until next week, everyone, from here, the crew here at TwizzCast and BlizzPro, we encourage you to game safe, love one another, and please, everybody within the sound of my voice, take care. Hey guys, you've been listening to TwizzCast, the official podcast of BlizzPro.com. You can follow us all on Twitter at TwizzCast, at TwizzTE, at TankThatReb, and at Willie_Foss. The show notes and articles that we discuss can be found at BlizzPro.com. And if you'd like to drop us a line, send the email to podcast@BlizzPro.com. Thanks again, and we will catch you next week.